Finish my fucking mouth.
No, we're live.
Oh! Oh! Welcome to Plat Chat VALORANT episode 208. Oh my god. Ah, I'm still swallowing my Greek yogurt and granola.
You're still swallowing. That's all we gotta know.
I'm still swallowing. I'm still swallowing.
You and Paperfin, much disalike in dignity.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stupidest episode you're ever going to see. We're going to try at the end of this episode to power rank all 48 teams that are in VCT, which a more fruitless task has never been attempted, I think. It's just, this is the kind of thing that TMV does on his YouTube channel. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. He's even got no counterpoint because he knows that it's true.
I'm just blindsided by the fact that you're starting this episode eating, not ready again. You're the you're not the reason why we're late. The reason why we are a minute late is because of Mimi.
Yes.
We have to start with that, right?
Well, I made a certain agreement. Well, me and TMV were watch partying the EMEA games last year. Because last kickoff, 4 7 years ago, yep. I made the promise that if Team Liquid, who was a very horrible team at the time, made it to Masters Bangkok, that I would glue myself to my chair. And I tried to do this in Bangkok. I was like, hey, day one, Team Liquid's playing production, can I glue myself to the chair for the day? And they were like, you know, we don't want the bit to linger. And I'm like, that's fair, but also that's kind of what happens when you glue yourself to a chair. It tends to linger a little bit.
It's not a quick get in, get out kind of bit, is it? Gluing yourself to your chair.
And I've walked to the convenience store this morning, and I'm ready for my penance.
But that is not going to glue you to any chair known to man. That is the weakest glue
Josh, it's
you
not
could have
supposed
found.
to be permanent.
But I think
at least it's like,
but like a Gorilla Glue minimum, I feel.
Gorilla Glue minimum.
Yeah, like as a proper super glue, like they used to repair people's flesh. That's what we should be looking at.
You want my flesh molded to my fucking chair?
Yes, I want you to look like Godric the goddamn grafted after this. I want you to look.
Get this lid off.
I want you to be Mimi the chaired one.
What the fuck? I need to get a pen.
Oh,
and
man.
so what your thought process is? You're just gonna glue your.
I'm just gonna put a big
jeans.
dab of glue on, and I'm gonna glue myself to the chair for this Plat Chat episode.
Now, a big dab isn't really
I think you're going to need the whole bottle.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
My fucking...
Yeah.
I can't even get it. Oh, 1 second.
Oh, this is very convenient.
By the way,
I can't open it, guys.
What?
You've demonetized the episode, so if we have any glue sponsors out there that want to like if Elmer's is watching, Mr. Elmer, if you'd like to sponsor the episode, we are so down to talk about glue for like the next 4 episodes if you wanted to give us an exclusive.
Guys, I legitimately, it's like, how are children supposed to open this?
They're not. That's the whole point. It's childproof, and you're about proving it.
Let me get something to stab it with. Maybe that'll do.
Such are just eating it, enjoying the entertainment.
I need a fucking...
Yes, more,
I'm gonna go get a knife. I'll be right back.
Oh, good. We're opening this episode with you gluing yourself to your chair and... Sorry, can you take Mimi's cam full screen? That's not even a chair. That's a trash bag sat on top of a chair to make sure that she doesn't damage the chair. I don't know about you, TMV. I mean, listen, this one's on you. You're the person that came up with the bet. But this is looking like she's wiggling out of it in 10 different ways.
It does seem quite... I mean, and I also thought it would be on broadcast. That was like... in my mind, it was, you know...
We are broadcasting.
On broadcast. Like
we are live right now.
But yeah, I know, but you know, an important broadcast.
Get him gone.
Okay.
Get him gone, man.
Okay, this worked. Nice.
By the way, while Mimi's tackling the glue, TMV, was this even when Liquid were looking bad? Because in my memory, Mimi was already late to this. Like, Team Liquid were already playing all right by the time she made this bit.
It wasn't at their worst. I want to say that this was probably in the game versus BBL.
Where it looked low. There were some low moments.
Which is where they kind of regressed a little, and they also...
There was a lot of thrifties.
Yeah,
yes,
and I think it was like after they lost
Bind.
that too.
When they had lost Bind, they had like the weird round in showers. They like their Sage died short. Like they were losing to every eco round. It was like they were at their muddiest. It looked like they were gonna be eliminated last map. And TMV was trying to spin this whole fucking narrative about how they're gonna fucking make it and how they're gonna like go all the way about how they're gonna make it to Masters Bangkok, and I was like, no, they're not making it to Masters Bangkok. Okay, this team is bad, and they're not. Do you guys think that's sufficient?
I think you might need a little more on the edges.
A little more on the edges? Okay.
Because at the moment, it looks like it's going to glue your gooch down, but not really your legs.
Yeah,
I think you need to...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
Yes,
it's too centralized.
My issue is I don't want to sit down in it to like, like squirt out on the edges. So
right.
Let's
like
go for let's
like a
try
PB&J
that.
where you put too much in.
Let's try that. Shout out to Caliber Glue. Please sponsor us. I'm sorry for losing us money already. Let me take this shit off so I don't glue it down.
Right, because you're planning on putting your back on the chair?
No. It has a long base.
Oh,
and
it's
I like
got a tail to it.
Fair. Yeah, fair.
You're wearing
All right,
like a penguin setup.
Oh, it's so cold and wet. Oh, fucking hell. All right. Oh.
Well,
I guess I should just hold still and give that some time to adhere. And I'll keep you guys apprised on the situation.
I mean, I'm going to really enjoy when...
It smells like fumes in here. It's just like...
Wait till we
I
get
think
to the
I
power
used
ranking.
like 3/4 of the bottle.
This can't be good.
And there's just glue dripping out. Oh, fucking hell.
Mimi's going to have some takes later on. And then she's going to forget that she glued herself to a chair, walk off, and we're just going to see a trash bag like flapping behind her. Okay. If you want to support the show and feed Mimi's glue-eating, glue-using habits, then you can become a member for exclusive benefits such as access to the members-only Discord, exclusive early access to all of our content, including the Bangkok episode that we're doing. We are going to be planning on doing some more members-only episodes in the future as well. For the Bangkok episode, Barla made a special appearance. Bren lost his mind. Bren also made a bet there that if T1 won Bangkok, he would quit Valorant. So, I don't know who's planning on holding him to that one, but it's...
He did make an apology video, to be fair.
He did.
Under duress.
Okay, so does that mean we're letting him back into the Valorant scene?
Maybe there should be a community vote. Maybe
we should
like ancient Greece where they vote to ostracise people. That's what we should do to Bren. A community-wide vote.
The least popular member of Plat Chat gets sent out into the wilds.
Yes. We bring all of the men of the world together in the Roman latrine, and we discuss, should Bren be allowed to stay, and put it to a vote.
Our members only question for today is, if DRX were in a 5th to 6th competition, where would they place? Would they get first, or would they get 5th to 6th in the 5th to 6th competition?
See, I think that DRX are a consistent disappointment, so they would do neither and probably finish like 3rd. That would be the most DRX.
No, that's actually that's the most unfortunate thing I've ever heard. that's terrible.
DRX have finished 3rd in a previous tournament before.
Everyone likes to forget about that one, yeah.
Yeah, a Champions 2022.
Lock-in as well.
Top 4 at lock-in as well. Top 4.
Top 4 because we didn't have a double,
Right. So it's not that they're 5th, 6th every time, but I think when you're a good team and when you make it deep multiple times, isn't this like a pretty common position that you would find yourself in?
Well, you can.
I guess it's the only reason we dwell on it is because they've never made a grand finals.
Yeah, I think it's because this game has so much variance in who the final teams are, and so much has changed over the years of we have a different 1st place, we have a different 2nd place, new teams are making finals, T1 is lifting a trophy, EDG is lifting a trophy, we have crazy stuff going on all the time, but then they're literally the one team in Valorant that is consistent globally. They always make it out of groups, they always lose in 5th, 6th, and we hate them for that. And honestly, me personally, I think that's fucked up. Me personally, I think that's fucked up because they're the one consistent team. 5th, 6th is good. Top 6 in the world.
Yeah, but it is annoying.
Would you rather be DRX and finish 5th, 6th in every tournament, or be like a T1 where you've never won anything for years and then you win one tournament?
but that's unfair because T1 lifted the trophy. I think it's more fair to ask if you'd rather be DRX or be PaperX, where you're
great question.
Almost lifting a trophy, but actually not.
Jesus.
I mean, that's so painful. I feel like there's more hope almost with DRX at the moment, but that's because they're a new roster, whereas PaperX have stayed the same.
But think of PaperX of old, how hopeful it was. You've been on that team for 3 years laboring in the mines, and then you just 2nd place every time.
I think you'd rather be Paper Rex. I think you'd rather get to those grand finals and have lived.
It really
even if it
smells like
ended in
fumes.
disappointment, you've at least lived.
You should open those windows,
Yeah,
by the
I'm
way, if you
opening
have
a
any.
To have lived and failed, at least we lived and tried. That kind of
Yeah.
vibe. Yeah. Whereas you go out 5th to 6, you're like, ah, well, didn't
That's
actually
right,
get an
guys.
opportunity to lift the trophy at any point.
Yeah, that's true.
I think DRX will make a deep run at some point this year. I really think this team is kind of cooking.
Kurt, you've got a short right there. When they don't make it to any international, take that clip, get the clown music on.
You don't think they're going to make it to any of the future internationals?
Now that you've just said that,
there's no way, man.
No,
There's no
now
way.
this is just making the short longer.
Well.
This is good.
If DRX don't make it to either of the other internationals, I'll quit Valorant, glue my fucking head to a chair, and I'll shove my ass up a fireplace. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, there you go.
They don't do it now that you've said that.
There's your short. There's your short. Okay, let's move on to our first topic of the day, though. Today's episode is mostly going to be centered around roster changes that we didn't get to last week because we were kind of discussing Bangkok, but there have been a ton of roster moves that happened. And our power ranking, our silly power ranking of all the 48 teams. But some other stuff off the top. VCT may decrease the amount of partnered teams in 2027. Now, this is coming off the back of a translated report from GameArena.gg. So I guess if we hit the old translation button on this one and turn it from Portuguese into English.
I was just reading the Portuguese. Who's just flexing on us there.
Yeah,
I'm surprised none of you guys know it.
The original source is coming from Tarek and Tenz's stream during the Masters Bangkok final. They were doing a lot of there was actually tons of people just jumping around from the co-streams to co-streams, and Leo Faria was talking about changes to VCT teams in 2026 and 2027. And the quote basically goes Leo has talked before about the idea of making the system more open, where instead of having 10 fixed teams and 2 Ascension teams, there are more rotating spots available. And so he's been talking about why not 6 and 6? Why not 8 and 4? You know, that kind of thing. So it's now when we're phrasing it as decreasing the amount of partner teams, I think actually a lot of people would be in favor of this, because what you're really doing is you're increasing the amount of teams that have earned their spot, I suppose you could say, rosters that have earned their spot. But I don't know. What's your feel on this kind of thing? Making the system, you know, half open, half closed.
Well, Leo responded to a Reddit comment. I'm not sure if you saw it. I'm trying to find it now. He responded to a comment that basically said, like, the talk about, like, decreasing the teams or stuff like that was just, like, things that could happen. The only thing he was, like, certain of was, like, what you said, that they wanted to be more open, but, like, he was just throwing out some ideas of, like, ways that might happen, and not necessarily, like, they definitely are happening.
Sure. Right. But he wouldn't bring up something like that, such a drastic change, if it wasn't on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Sure. Like, it would be very, very bad PR and communications for Riot to even float ideas like this if it wasn't possible, or something that they had discussed, something that they had the possibility of being able to action.
I've sent you it on the Discord.
I think he's already got it.
Oh.
He's literally pulled it up right now while you're tabbed out.
I mean,
So let's look at what Leo's response was. Hey folks, my comments on the stream are being taken out of proportion. International leagues are working incredibly well and have helped Valorant grow into one of the largest and most successful esports in the world. The willingness to change isn't a recognition that partnership was the wrong answer and now we want to find the right one. There is no right or wrong. Each choice comes with pros and cons, and the pros of partnership and ILs are paying off big time. That said, what's clear to us after 2 years is that we'd like the ecosystem to be a bit more open. It already is semi-open with Ascension, but we'd like more teams to believe in the dream and have the opportunity to play on bigger stages. The 2 things I mentioned on the stream, more Ascension teams or LCQs for global events, are just theoretical examples to illustrate what being more open means. They're not options. We could do a million other things to achieve that. Such as shorter partnership cycles. So, like, instead of doing it for an entire year, you do it for, like, 1 stage or something. Now, that would be fucking bonkers for logistics. Promotion, relegation, open qualifiers, open tournament circuit. And he says those are big decisions that have massive impacts on the scene, but that they do want it to be more open in some way or another.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
What do you think about that?
The thing is like I think Leo's just trying to calm people down because people latched onto the examples and like everyone's just spinning their own wheels about the certain examples. But quite frankly, I think there's actually only a handful of ways you can make it more open, right? Like you do have to have some form of a qualifier, whether it's more Ascension teams, whether it's more LCQs, whatever, right? And then that means you just have to have less partner teams. So I think it's just a matter of the number and the timing. I find it hard to believe that they would decrease like the length of partnership because I think that actually defeats the purpose of partnership. So that probably, but it just sounds like they're tossing things around. I think in the long run, it is better because I think that the thing he mentioned in the Reddit comment is the big one because right now only literally one team out of like 20 subregions, which each have like 10 teams playing, has the dream to make it in, right? So it actually at some point doesn't really feel like a dream, it feels like a gamble. And so we're seeing a lot of orgs like pull out or they start to buy rosters, come stage 2, things like that. And so I think that should change. And if you have, let's say it's 2 or 3 teams, or maybe you have that one chance to at least play in one Masters tournament, like that should open up that dream, and I think that would be good.
Yeah, I think you have to find a balance though, because at the end of the day, the ask for Ascension teams is pretty tough, right? Like when they actually make it, you're making this really big commitment to, let's take like for example for EMEA, the regional leagues in Europe are from a variety of different countries, from Spain, from Turkey, from whatever. What?
They're just showing him eating.
I'm just showing Josh eating. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm muting my microphone and trying to get sneaky bits of my breakfast into my mouth because I was going shopping this morning and didn't have time to eat, and now Kurt is exposing me to the world.
I'm sorry
Just
for
let the man
derailing
eat.
that, Mimi.
He's just a boy, and he's but a small boy, and he wants to eat his food. Okay.
I've finished now.
Okay. What was I saying? I got fucking glue on my microphone cord. I don't know. In regions like EMEA, where it's like you're having to move to a different country, that's all on the guarantee of having like only a year to stay in the league. There's kind of some risk there, but I think finding a balance where it's like 3 and 9 or something like that just slightly increases the calculus towards actually being able to make it could be beneficial, especially if there are deadbeat orgs, which I think there are some that could go in some regions, and no one would really be all that pissed about it.
Well, it is a message to those orgs currently in there as well. Like, get your stuff together. Otherwise, you could not only because that's the thing. Some orgs might be like, oh, we'll be fine. Because like, what orgs are they going to really replace us with? Well, you might just be gone. And there is no replacement.
I think it's also a pretty strong message to organizations that are not involved in Valorant at the moment, or have previously been involved at the tier 2 level and found that the calculus just didn't work, the risk on return. So it's a message to them that looking towards 2027, we're actually planning to make things a bit more open. Like the return on your investment might change a little because of how we're going to open up the scene slightly. To me, my dream scenario is that before every one of our... I'll explain what all the problems are with this afterwards, by the way, but let me just set up the positives of it. My dream scenario is the LCQ ideas. So you have, before each of the international events, let's say before Toronto, you have the teams that qualify through VCT qualify through VCT. And then you have a couple of wildcard slots. It depends how many you actually want to throw in there. But let's say for the sake of it, we throw in 4 wildcard slots. You have I would prefer international, but you could do it on a regional level, tournament that incorporates the middle teams from VCT, not the shit teams that didn't do anything, but the middle teams that you actually want to see more of. They get more games, so you increase the minimum amount of matches. Well, not the minimum, actually, because the crap teams are still playing the minimum. But for the middle of the pack teams, you're increasing the amount of minimum matches that they play. And then you also have some of the tier 2 teams get involved in that as well. So if you wanted to do it on a regional level, for example, you'd have rankers playing against 100 Thieves. Well, actually, no, you wouldn't even have 100 Thieves because they bombed the fuck out. But like, you'd have rankers playing against like MIBR or something. I keep using 100 Thieves as an example because I feel like they're a good team, but they did kind of get shafted by kickoff. But yeah, you'd have this like top of the tier 2 scene playing against middle of the tier 1 scene to find out who's the wild card pick to go off to Toronto. Now, massive problems with this are, first of all, you'd need to get visas in advance. And that's really difficult. Now, they get around that for the international leagues because you basically all just get the visa paperwork done before you even know whether or not you're qualifying. And there's only a small amount of people that are going to be involved. So it's reasonable for the orgs to go and do that. Whereas if it's a tier 2 system, you might not know who those tier 2 teams are. And the more open you make the qualifier, the more it could just be like 5 guys from who the hell knows where who pop out at the end of the tournament with the win, and you can't get them a visa in time. And you wouldn't have known that they even had a chance to win, so you wouldn't have pre-prepped them with the visa. And I think the other major problem to that is, especially when you make it an international LCQ, it costs mega moolah to run those kind of events. And so then you're looking at partnering with large tournament organizers and maybe allowing them access to sponsors that we don't normally, like alcohol or gambling, in order to make up the sponsorship money they would need to put on an event like this. Or maybe you're looking towards Saudi to run events like this because they are the only people that have the money. So like there are some significant downsides to these kind of ideas, but in my head, like, that is one of the best formats you could. One of the organizations, though, that you kind of alluded to, TMV, that might be like looking to elbow their way into the scene, I'd just like to jump ahead one because it fits kind of nicely, is Envy, right? They're a tier 2 organization now with their return to Valorant, signing rankers. They're one of the orgs that actually a couple of years down the road, maybe they would really benefit from having a bit more of an open system, and they're looking to test the waters a little bit, but they have just got in the deep end right now and signing an org that's got clout and success currently. So best of both worlds, honestly, with rankers.
Yeah, this is obviously, I don't, as people will know in the comments, I don't know. Are all of them, like, if they won Ascension this year, are all of them old enough to play next year? I'm not sure. I know some of them will be, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But either way, yeah, this is, I mean, it was always gonna happen probably, and I think that if the system stayed in its current state, this is what you would see a lot of, right? Wait for kind of the first bit of the season, unsigned team, see who's the best, and then someone comes in and sign them, right? Like that's the kind of system that we kind of live in now, where those first couple stages, if you are a tier 2 team, is probably very important because it's probably actually your best chance of getting signed and making some money. But I mean, it is funny, you know, watching. I mean, obviously that, I think also is good branding by these guys, right? Calling yourself rankers, I think just
Definitely
added to the allure of it, right? Like, oh, we're just 5 kids, you know, in this game.
5 guys with a belief in ourselves.
Is it wrong though? Because it's like, it's good marketing, but I don't think it's dishonest marketing.
No.
Is it?
No, it's also like, I mean, they are literally like pug star players. It's such a cool, like, I guess kind of redemption arc for some of the players, because like a lot of these guys did like a good job at branding themselves, but became kind of a meme for it. Like the pop and swing, he's like the guy destroying streamers in their lobbies who's getting farmed for like clips on TikTok and shit. And then you have fucking Baby J, who's most like, memorable.
That's not his name anymore.
Inspire the man, the artist formerly known as Baby J, whose most like memorable moment for a lot of people was like the astounding failure of that 100 Thieves roster, where they got 13-0'd on Ascent. But now they've come back together. They've been on like this like ultimate redemption arc to show that they can actually like hang in tier 2 and are just dunking on absolutely everyone. Have gotten this opportunity to sign with like a big org that has a story in Valorant, and really have a good chance to keep going. And I mean, it is the teams like this that would benefit the most from those kind of systems you're talking about, and also giving them just more opportunities to have orgs like Envy looking at them instead of just the top 1 Ascension team. Maybe orgs start looking at the top 3, the couple best, and put a little bit more emphasis on like taking that risk and picking people up.
Yeah, it's only a good thing for the scene, I think, to have them get involved. I suppose one of the issues is whether they stick around if the team either doesn't work or during the off season. Like,
the thing is, I don't think you can ever like make them do that. Like,
yeah.
At least in the current like financial state of esports, it's just too expensive.
Yeah. The only way I would see them doing that is if MV truly believes that they have a shot in whatever new form of partnership comes around in 27. So they're like building up over the course of a year and a half. Like, you know, then maybe you're just showing that you're loyal to the game. But other than that, I mean, let's be honest, just from a business standpoint, it actually just doesn't make sense, as unfortunate as it is for the Challengers players, for an org to keep salaried players doing nothing for 6 months. You know what I mean? So,
especially assuming at
probably
that
not.
point that they've missed out on winning Ascension, which
Assuming,
was
yeah.
the entire kind of premise of it in the first place. Yeah, it'll be interesting to follow. I mean, they're doing incredibly well at the moment. There are changes on the horizon though, and some of them fairly serious. Deadlock, ISO, and Clove got changed in patch 10.04. I feel like we were already seeing a bit of an uptick in terms of Deadlock gameplay. I feel like people were finally starting to realize that the GravNet was an extremely good piece of util, but we didn't really see very much of her getting played. I mean, maybe that's also because Trace never picked Bind at any point during their Masters Bancroft.
Why didn't they pick Bind? They couldn't. They were so good at that map, and then they go and they have the worst. They tie for the least rounds won ever. It's so depressing, man.
Yeah.
Anyways,
just to bring that one back up, stab another dagger in the heart of the Trace
6
man.
months time, Bind's gonna be back in the map pool. Trace will be playing in champs, and we're like, oh, they're gonna be amazing at Bind. They won't pick it. It will be just generational trauma.
and they win
of Trace.
20 rounds.
The Clove though got some shifts because let me, rather than just going through them, they're up on the screen at the moment for anyone who's not an audio listener, but I just want to ask the group here, do you think it's a little bit strange that Riot make a matchmaking stomping character? They kind of knew that that's what Clove would be. And then when they're overpowered a tad and getting used a ton in ranked, but not in pro play, like they're fitting their niche completely, they're like, gotta tone that down actually.
Well, I mean, we don't know the numbers, right? Like, if the ranked numbers are like Clove's win rate is 65% or whatever, right? Like at a certain point, you are, even if you're fulfilling your role, you have to be like, this can't. We need to change that, right? Like at a certain point, you just have to admit that that's too much, and maybe that's where Clove is. Like, we don't have necessarily all of the ranked data. I don't fully trust Kurt's
What is this?
Googling thing here.
Where is this from actually though? Kurt?
Yeah,
is
where
this
is this
Tracker?
from?
Yeah, this is Tracker,
It's
I think.
from Tracker GG.
Okay, so Tracker GG has got the win rate at 52.5%.
But is that including mirrors as well? Because obviously that just brings you to 50.
Well,
think it
yeah,
is.
but also
It's a
then
useless stat.
well, why not compare it to
That
Omen?
means 52 would be crazy high.
But I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
what I'm saying.
also-
Yeah.
It's probably the pick rate as well, right? You probably have to combine those when you're thinking about ranked of like, are they just dominantly getting picked? Because that's what it looked like, is that she has they have an unnecessarily high
It looked
range
like
of
the
picks.
second highest pick rate on Clove.
Yeah.
It looked like Reyna
After
was
Reyna.
10.4,
After Reyna,
Clove
which
was
is-
10.2. So like, yeah, the pub stomp agents are popular. Yeah, second most picked agent in the game with the highest pick rate in the game, at least according to Tracker's data from ranked.
But look at the win. Like, yeah, look at the win rate versus others. Even if it is,
it's
that's
that's
pretty
significantly higher than
significant.
anything else. And I think it's below 50% because I think ties don't count as a win
Where's-
on this. Which
Where's
is
the
why...
next? Where's the next smoke? Because I can't even see another smoke on the page.
Yeah, that's the other question.
Where's
to
the
have.
Where's the next smoke?
No
That's
smokes
actually
in ranked is the best.
Brimstone at 49.1.
Right. Okay. And yeah, again,
2.6.
TMV, do you want to explain to people why you shouldn't really be using these stats? Why you should be using
Well, just because, yeah,
non-mirror?
if you have a Clove play against a Clove, one Clove is going to win and one Clove is going to lose, and so everyone just tends towards 50, and it doesn't really give you a good picture. Although in that it kind of does, because you see the gap of Clove anyway versus the others. And as I said, I think in that it's just win percentage. So if you vote to draw, don't get a win. So that's why there's a lot of them under 50%. But yeah, it's not the best way of doing it. But looking at those numbers, I would say
make it even more impressive, though.
yeah, I would say
that
looking
it
at
is
those
that high.
numbers, that Clove is clearly, this is why they've done it, because Clove is the problem.
Yeah.
So with Clove, they have gotten rid. So metal used to work, as far as I'm aware, like a AG grenade in CS. So it just had a timer, and even if it was in the midair or something, it would explode.
Boom.
Now it needs to make contact with the ground, and then after it makes contact with the ground, it's 0.75 second timer. That is going to change things slightly. It means that I don't know, you can't.
You can do
like,
lineups with it
Well,
now, but yeah, it's,
yeah.
Yeah,
It's more of a setup and execute ability now rather than a dueling ability, right?
sure.
So worse for ranked, but better for pro play. But it's Clove.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, people, dude, I'm gonna love seeing all of the Cloves with their medal lineups in pro play. That's gonna be sick.
Yes, wow, that's
The
awesome.
post-plant medal to increase the spam meta, so you get them down to like 1 HP.
There you go.
That's great. I
but,
do think this. Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
No, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think the smoke cooldown time is really big. Like, I think that really kills a lot of what Clove can do. Because remember, I think what are the smokes cooldown? It's like 12 seconds or something. I think it's the shortest smoke in the game of the major smokers. And already, if you're execing with a solo Clove on your team, it is brutal how short their smokes last. Like, you are going for an exec, and if you are stalled out by any piece of util, your smokes are gone. And let's say you're playing like a map like Split or like or Bind or something, which in like ranked, a lot of people are going to be playing solo Clove on those kinds of maps where you can just exec with double smokes and it's fine. Like, that's brutal now. If you get stalled out at all on the attack side, you're waiting 120 seconds for your smokes to come back online. Like, you're just not really gonna get a re-hit. So I think this is like essentially just saying like, no, you're gonna have to make a huge trade-off if you're trying to run solo smokes Clove, and putting a really big risk on that with how long it takes for the smokes to recharge. And also, that is like the longest smoke recharge time. No, I don't think anyone else takes that long.
Well, Brimstone doesn't get them back.
Well, yeah, thank you, Josh.
That's the longest, because it's a full round.
Holy shit, Brim doesn't get rechargeable smokes. That's crazy.
Can you imagine they patch one of the characters to just be the other character, and people are like, oh my god, Clove now has 3, but they don't get rechargeables. The nerf to pick me up is actually pretty big as well. I think, especially with the move speed duration reduced, because the move speed, I swear, I was never hitting a Clove. They were zipping around my screen, and I was doing nothing to them.
Could you be the test case?
Yeah, also fair. The real question is were you also successfully not getting hit when you were playing Clove, or were you still getting hit?
I
think that's a better test.
I never play Clove. I'm not the kind of player to pick up a Clove, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he doesn't play for the team. He's not a team player agent.
I mean, I'm not a shoot at them kind of player at all. But I feel like that movement speed boost was massive.
Yeah, and it's like the move speed nerf though. I get like that's the one I can kind of get behind because it was very strong, and now it is more like a dismiss type of deal, right? You get a slight boost and you can continue the next fight. It's like a 1v2 type of ability. But overall, you look at the nerf, and what I don't like is that Clove's characteristic was that you were meant to feel like a duelist. Like, that was your niche, that you were supposed to get in, have a quick fight. That's why your smokes don't last as long, but you're still able to have some sort of team utility. And now they're like, we want you to set up for the team with these lineups with the metal, but your smokes still actually suck, and now they take even longer. So you can't be the solo controller, but also you can't be as great of a duelist anyway, because we're nerfing that too. So now it's like why am I picking Clove? You know what I mean? Like, I look
You're
at
not,
this,
and that's the point, Chobra. You're not picking Clove. Thank God.
Oh,
you have to learn Omen or Brim now. I mean, mostly Omen.
Learn Brim.
It's
Welcome
a very
back to my
character.
guide. Here's the top 10 Brimstone smoke lineups on Split.
You joke, but the amount of people that have terrible smokes utility in ranked is unbelievable. Honestly, like they could genuinely benefit from something like that. Let's go on to the Deadlock then. So they've actually swapped around the signature ability for Deadlock. So instead of having the wall as the signature, Gravnet is now the signature, but they're nerfing the Gravnet as well. So okay, I honestly I don't really know why they've done this rather than leave it as it was and just make some changes anyway, but I guess it doesn't matter.
I think it's kind of an awesome change. Like, I think first off, like, barrier mesh was something that on like pistol rounds did not have a good enough trade-off. Like, the fact that you had a piece of utility that stalls that long and is that difficult to deal with when you only have pistols with no cost was kind of crazy. So this is now putting her in line with Sage as well, which is also, I think, 400 credits, and it's basically achieving the same thing. So you have to take the same risk to do that. But what this is really doing is giving Deadlock more value for set play stuff on the attacking side. Being able to have another grab net every 40 rounds. Think of like how Trace plays their bind as an example that we never got to see. They're going for like
it's on a 40-second
Yes, you
cooldown.
didn't know
I
that?
didn't see
That's
that.
I was wondering why you said it wasn't a mess. This is a huge
Oh my
change.
It's
god!
a
I didn't
massive-
realize it was on a
good.
40-second cooldown.
So every 40 seconds, you can go for a set play, you can go for a reclear, you can go for a util combo. I mean, it is basically
Nah, that's
making her
ludicrous.
an initiator with an insane wall and good sentinel utility too. Like she
Nah,
is
that's
absolutely bussing right now.
I failed the
she's
I failed the
super
literacy
busted.
check. I actually
You didn't
failed
read
the
the patch
literacy check.
notes.
I looked at it and I was just like, well, I guess that means you don't have wall on pistol, but like, okay.
Yeah, that's what everyone focused on at the beginning. But it's like you
40
thought
seconds,
Teo and Breach running around every 40 seconds was bad. But now you're just gonna have Deadlock throwing her
On top
grab
of
net.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and now you literally can't get out of it. You know what I mean? Like you're just dead. Like every 40 seconds
You are
someone's
dead.
dying on the map.
Yeah.
And so
Probably, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I think it's gonna be busted in team play.
I mean,
But
the
look-
Gravnet is not. I don't think. Well, I haven't
Oh,
looked in
it's-
the servers. I don't know whether the size.
No,
decreased.
it's still pretty big. It's still
Right,
pretty
Yeah,
it's still
'Cause
quite
Size
it
doesn't
was
matter
too
that much,
big
Josh.
before. Right?
big. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not about the size. It's about what you do with it, and it's about the noise that it makes. That's what I've always said. And the noise of the Gravnet, that's the thing that really makes it a busted ability. I
It's
think
also
because you
about
get
the cooldown, of course.
well, of
Yeah, the
course, yeah, the
cooldown,
refractory
yeah.
period, the noises it's making, all of that kind of stuff. And dude, the noise that it makes when you catch somebody, you know exactly how many people
Yes.
you've caught, and you know when they're trying to break it as well. It's wild.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is insane. This is an insane change, especially in the current meta where Raze and Teo are both insanely good. This is an insane change. Because like you start every round, you know, you just grab like I mean you can picture it like let's say we're playing Raze, Breach, Teo, Deadlock. You have like Breach and Teo on one side of the map, taking part of the map. Raze and Deadlock on the other side. You know, you throw a grav net, you throw a nade, you throw a breach stun, you throw Teo missiles at the start of the round. You just take two parts of the map,
Yeah.
like straight away. Get most of those abilities on cooldown, and then do your exit. Like,
But
it is-
also,
Yeah.
here's my other point. We've got to remember what we were talking about last week. There are so many good agents at the moment.
yes,
you can only
but
pick
that's why it
5.
makes- yeah, this is what's cool though, is that like, and I don't know if you guys saw it. I was reading on the subreddit earlier about safe.
Yeah.
Tweeting out about like you know there's too much good util essentially now, right? Like you're just getting bombarded with good util. But I think that this to me like part of the excitement of this that there are a lot of good agents is like you say the meta is so like you like I my video today is going to be about the ascent meta. Every other time I've talked about ascent meta there is nothing to say, but now what's the ascent meta going to be? You don't know. It could be Teo. It could be Yoru. It could be it could play double sentinel. Remember that double sentinel comp that people
Yeah,
were trying
yeah.
last year? Imagine that, but it's not shit this time. Hey, Sen fans, you might get to watch your team play Ascent with double sentinel, and they might not be completely dog shit. Like you know, there's a chance now that even
Playing-
Ascent, the Ascent might have an interesting meta. What year?
Playing
What world are we
Vice
in?
Crazy.
Deadlock, playing Vice Deadlock on a bunch of these maps where you don't
Yep.
need double smokes might be disgusting
Yeah.
to play against.
Yes.
though. Oh,
Yes, it might be.
Yeah, but that might not be exciting, disgusting. That might be horrible.
That might be
disgusting.
Valorant's goats if it's double sentinel
Yeah.
every map. Like
Yeah,
that is
actually.
oh, we've made it Rainbow Six Siege. You have to
But then-
do
but
a
no,
fucking flow chart on how to deal with every piece of util.
But you say that, but that means that you are sacrificing something else that is going to be good. Because if you're playing double sentinel,
Yes.
you need
Yeah.
a smoke,
Yeah.
you need a duelist, and so then you've only got one initiator. So you're not playing
Yes.
solo Teo. So you're sacrificing the best agent in the game by doing that.
Teo,
Eventually.
Breach,
probably,
Omen.
yeah.
So that's my point. Is that
Deadlock
like
vibes.
it's not like you could play on Ascent, you know, Teo, Breach, Sova, triple initiator, Vitality, Abyss comp, and it would probably also you know be very good. Right, we've seen T1 one with double duelist. Like this is what's so great right now is that
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds disgusting to play against, but there are other disgusting things that you can
But-
do as well.
Yeah,
All
but that's
I'm
Safe's
gonna
point is
say-
that everything's disgusting right now.
But
There's
my
nothing
point-
pure and honest in the game anymore.
But I would
Well,
say
Reyna's
if
pretty
here is
pure.
here is the balance.
Clove
right?
was pure, Chobra, and then they killed Clove.
Here's the balance point, right? We have probably tipped to the util side. You know, we've come over
Right.
here, but before we were probably slightly over here in the gun side, right? But my point is, when you're on the gun side, is you'll probably still have a couple agents that are pretty good, and the rest will be underwhelming. and everyone will just play the couple agents that are pretty good on every map. And you end up with a very, very stale, very boring meta that, yeah, gunplay is more important, but everyone just plays the same thing all of the time. At least when we have the tip to the balance, and maybe it is too far, by the way. I'm not disagreeing that, you know, we might have gone a bit too far, but at least on when the balance is tipped this side, there is a ton of things that you could theoretically go, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah,
That's
I can get behind that. My only fear is that the system, the VCT system, doesn't give time for teams to experiment. So it's going to be very easy for the mid-range teams to just say what's easiest to execute, right? Like Teo's the easiest to execute. So now you all gravitate towards that, which makes it seem more busted than it might actually be, like you said, because there's actually like, well, different zone clearing, there's different ways to counter, and now you can take space different ways, and now you have no info, but it's like, we may never actually see that evolution, which would be very unfortunate. So I hope that teams are willing to still experiment and like work with what works for their players rather than just picking off, you know, the list of, well, this is going to get us 55% of the wins. But also the VCT schedule doesn't allow for that. So that's my biggest fear, is that I agree with you, but I just don't know if we're going to see that come to fruition.
Yeah, blame the team. I agree.
Let's rattle through. Let's rattle through the last few things in the patch notes. So ISO's had a couple of changes here. A bug fix to the kill contract, which means that you always have double tap when you are inside the ultimate, so you always come out of the ultimate with it if you win it as well. You have a bit more slow upon breaking your shield rather than still being able to move kind of quickly. To be honest, though, the biggest changes are to the undercut and contingency as I see them, which is the contingency. Now you can move the wall at half the speed, so it allows you to be able to, well, it gives you the option of doing that, by the way, so you can still get the fast one. But you can also move it at half the speed, so you can kind of scale off it a little bit easier. So you're kind of running at the same time, same pace that the wall is moving up. And the undercut one, Wyatt has already trolled me so many times in ranked by suppressing me while he's on my team. And you know, it's one thing to be vulnerable as you're going into a site, but it's another thing entirely to then lose all of your abilities. The fact that applies to your teammates, it's going to tilt the shit out of me in ranked. Because, oh my god, I'm getting hit by it all the time.
If you're not a teammate, it's actually a pretty cool change, I think.
It's like, an insanely cool change.
If you think about like how like T1 plays their ISO, let's say like on their Lotus, they're like fighting for a lobby most of their rounds. They're sending the undercut. When they go for retakes, they're sending the undercut. Like having a suppress combined in that, like for the A lobby example, let's say like an Omen TPs across, gets like undercut. Can't TP out, can't use paranoia, can't do any of that stuff. They're stuck, they're cooked, they're dead.
It's vulnerable.
Like, it actually, it literally like makes like that as a tool to set up fights all the more scary, because not only are you suppressing someone, but you're basically locking them in a position where they just have to have their gun out and cannot fight you, and you're at an advantage duel because they will take 2 Vandal bullets to kill, and you have a shield and you're running at them. Like it's really big.
You can also use it reactively to get rid of showstoppers and stuff. You see someone running at you with a showstopper, skadoosh.
I mean, we were already doing that with like the Teo drone, and it's even easier to point and click adventure game with this with the undercut.
And Neon's probably like dead in the water if ISO's on the map as well, because you're not sprinting in anymore. You can't slide anymore, and you're getting shot instantly. So GG Dombie, it was nice knowing you, Nongshim. We'll move on to the next one.
If you are the kind of player as well where you get pissed off round 3 because you have gone down 0 and 2 to begin the map, you control all of your teammates by suppressing them every time they try to use a piece of utility.
Are you calling out Wyatt there? Is that,
no. Wyatt was doing it accidentally. I'm talking about the people in ranked. You know them, you love them, you hate them, who are tilted.
Many people love them.
They're like throwing blast packs at you and stuff. They're throwing nades at you halfway through the round. They're shock darting you because you didn't trade them in like round 4 or something, and they haven't forgotten it. They can now, while you're ulting, they can throw a suppress at you. And
oh my god! Wait, literally, you Sova ult or Raze ult, you get team undercut.
Yep.
They've got to fucking fix it.
I mean,
like, hey guys, I'll make sure your Sova ult kills them in 1. Oh no.
Dude, it's gonna be so annoying. Like if you're a tilter and you're playing ISO, please, I beg you, don't commit those kind of crimes in your ranked games. At least not while I'm around there. The potential for trolling is so hard. The wall as well should allow for a lot more retake clutches, presumably, because you
he basically just got a new ability. Like he had no ability before, and now he just gained one essentially.
There's so many like corner spots though where you could put it, and then you're getting like half, and they're forced to run at you. It should make those positions
it's definitely a lot
very
better.
difficult.
It's a lot better doing the slow wall. In I assume there'll still be some scenarios where you'll want, I mean, if you're fast scaling up with it, I guess you'll still want the fast one. But for the most part, doing the slow one, it's so helpful. It's so helpful, just like giving you that extra time to kind of, because that's the thing with the fast one, you'd be stopping someone from getting for an angle for like a second, but then you're trying to clear out something else, but then by that time the wall's already gone past them. Whereas this one, where it's crawling forward, actually gives you time to kind of oh, I'm checking this. Now I'm checking this as the wall is kind of still blocking an angle.
And they made it so that Killjoy lockdown doesn't die to the salvos from Tejo. Woo!
I mean, that just felt like an oversight, no?
It kind of did, yeah. It was.
I mean, this is where things should have started. This is where it should have started.
Like, it's already crazy powerful, even if Killjoy doesn't just get a fuck you card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's already a really, really good... and as far as I'm aware, this change doesn't actually affect basically anything else. Well, or does it? Because the salvo on the edges does less damage than the middle. So now that they've decreased the damage, is it much easier to stay alive even if you get caught in it by, like, dancing on the edges of the salvo? I might have to test that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the minimum... I don't know if the minimum range changed, but I think you should still die if you get hit by all 3 bursts. But you can probably get out easier.
Well, what
with
you
just,
can
like,
do
2.
is like the dance, where like if there's 2 missiles next to each other, you do the thing where you're boogieing back and forth between the 2, and you can survive if you time it right. If you have that motion, but it's tough to have that kind of motion. I will not lie.
You already could though, right? You could already survive.
Yeah, but it's easier now.
But now it's a lot easier. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. I feel it's time to discuss some of the roster moves that have been happening over the course of Masters Bangkok and a little earlier as well. Let's start with Leviathan. TMV, I got to give you the floor. You were the greatest nataNk fan, and your boy's been done so dirty.
Look at this org copying. They see the American government, and they're like, we'll have a bit of that. Expel this European, sign an American instead. What an unbelievable decision. I just feel bad for nataNk. Like, Rossy, okay, cool. It's nice to see Rossy back. Obviously, he's had his whole saga as well, and good for him, getting back into tier 1. But like, this is again, all of these changes, if teams are making changes like this early, and again, I will point out that, for a lot of the teams, like, champs qualification is what matters and all of that. A reminder, stage 1 this year does not impact stage 2 qualifying for champs. Right, so I was thinking that most teams would, if they were going to make panic changes, it was going to be during kind of the break between stage 1 and 2, because now those are separate, and your stage 1 results, if champs is your goal, doesn't matter that much, right? Instead, some of these teams, and again, it must be behind the scenes stuff, because I don't think that nataNk played that bad, right? I thought he was fine. He was okay.
They used wording something like they had different visions for how to play the game or something like that.
Fist fight.
The vision.
Code for fist fight.
Who do you think fist fought nataNk?
I don't know. They bet that. I hope whoever didn't win. That beautiful face of his. I don't want it ruined.
You sound like such a fucking creep. Like, what are you planning to do to him when he comes back to European soil?
Maybe he won't. I don't know. I just feel bad for him, and also it ruined my take. So, fuck you.
Yeah. Of course. Wasn't it it was a weird signing in the first place. It was just odd. But also nataNk was also playing Raze for them on Split. Was it Split?
It wasn't
think
so.
so.
It was on
somewhere.
one of the maps. No, it wasn't Split. It was Fracture, wasn't it? Because Demon 1 was playing Smokes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it must have been on Fracture. So now, presumably, if they want to play that, then King is going to play it? Because Rossy isn't going to.
I don't know. Maybe if you're playing against Lev, just pick any Raze map. Feel pretty
Yeah.
Big Fracture.
Any Raze map right now is like almost every map.
Every map.
Oh, well, no.
Except
Icebox to the center coming in.
Icebox to the center back in, aren't they? Yeah, so the map shifts have maybe come at the right time for this team. It's weird, though.
I mean, just the ultimate troll, though, to be like, yes, uproot your life, move to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a pro player in North America. Congratulations, you're free from France. You won't have to eat good bread another day in your life. And then 2 months later, they send his ass back.
At least
That's
now he's
just-
got the better bread.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he can. Hopefully he
Silver
can not only
linings.
he has the lower cost of living and the better bread. So hopefully he can be okay off of that. But just kind of fucking sucks for him to be booted that quickly.
It does, especially because in the wider context of what nataNk's been up to, he earned an organization a spot in Ascension. And then that team, after 1 year of, admittedly, they didn't perform up to the level that they were hoping to achieve and the org needed them to achieve. But this year they weren't even given the chance. They completely reworked the roster. And then nataNk did actually find another escape hatch out. And now that escape hatch has just fucking jettisoned him into space. So he's had a rough go of things, nataNk, after achieving basically the most that you can achieve at the tier 2 level.
Yeah.
He's the example of the American dream failing.
Yeah. And in
there a
some cases,
Pacific team?
carrying gentlemates on his back, like everyone,
Yeah.
carrying them to winning Ascension in certain moments.
Chobra, is there a Pacific or Ascension or a China team that could take him in? What if he just completes a world tour? He just goes around, tried out
Then a tank
Americas.
world tour.
He plays stage 1 Pacific, stage 2 China, back to Europe for kickoff next year.
Honestly, it would have been funny if Paper X picked up nataNk. That would have been hilarious.
Look at that roster page, man.
Oh, dude,
Dude,
this
get
is-
nataNk in there.
Yeah, get a tank.
Get
From the
nataNk
13,
in
They've got
get him in.
spots. They've surely got spots left, right? Like,
Holy
I love how there's
Oh my
5 staff
God.
as well. Like,
Well, of course. They honestly they look
2 of them
understaffed.
are just called staff. No, we don't know what they
Yeah.
do. Everyone's just turning up.
There's
They're just called
literally like
staff.
there's more people in this like Valorant team than in like a military squad of 2 fire teams with like a medic and a squad leader, and like it's fucking crazy. Like the amount of logi that they have to do to just like, oh, we have to feed and clothe and bathe our 17 men that play for our mediocre Valorant team. It's crazy.
Oh god. How do you think this team is going to do, Leviathan?
oh,
You mean Paper X with
Well, we're gonna talk about that later, right?
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
yeah.
You're right. We are going to talk about that later once we get to the power rankings. So I don't need to
Yeah.
ask those questions. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. Let's move on to the next team then. NRG. After the insane collapse of this team and all of the drama surrounding Verno and Bonkar and whose decision it was and why they did it and all of that kind of stuff and the stuff they were talking about on the podcast and etc. NRG have now signed the replacements, and they did this a while ago. Actually, we're pretty late to this story, but broken mics have been brought on. This was fairly obvious, I think, if you listened to Sean's stream, because he was like, well, somebody has been in touch for one of my players. It's like, I wonder who that could have been.
Look at that tweet from Sean.
My 2 goats. Can goats and snakes coexist?
That's
He's already fostering discontent, hoping that he gets Brawk back. Like, he's shit stirring like crazy. Brawk then instead of Verno. If you looked at their tier 2 things of what they did last year, Brawk was great, but Verno was like the tippity top
Bell of the
prospect.
ball, yeah.
Yeah, so now you've got if Verno was the bell of the ball, you've maybe got like the candlestick or the clock guy or the teapot or something.
The clock guy.
the clock.
What's the clock guy called in Beauty and the Beast?
No, he's called the clock guy. You're
Clock
you're
bloke,
fucking right on the money, buddy.
Beauty and the Beast. Let's have a look. He's called Cogsworth. Dude, what a name!
Wow.
Wait, Cogsworth is such a fire gamer name.
That's great.
That is good. All right, so is this Brawk Cogsworth?
Yeah, I guess he's Cogsworth. This is how we should rank all Valorant players. Just
There you go.
Beauty and the Beast characters.
I mean, I think Brock will be fine. It's just like, is that enough for the team, right? Like, I think that's the bigger question. I don't think there's any question about like Brock individually, whether he can hang or not individually. But do they need someone that can hang, or did they need like an extra person that can really take control of the game? Is, I guess, the other question. And
If Bren was
I
on the
hate to
show,
put
he'd
this-
definitely be saying they need someone who can more than hang, because Bren would be, at this point, probably taking another shot at FNS and saying that they're in a 4v5.
I mean, he
But I
did
do-
play some of the worst Valorant we've
I
ever
mean,
seen
okay,
from
go
the
to
guy.
go to America's kickoff.
Oh,
just
do
click
we really
stats.
need to do this?
Scope Lovato.
But we don't even have to look at it. Though. We all know, and like
yeah,
I
we
hate
know.
to-
We don't need to see the numbers.
I
We don't
hate
need
to
to see it.
spotlight it, but that is a concerning aspect, right? Is that
Yeah,
okay? Like,
He's not even there, man.
Oh,
he's not even
Boostio,
worse.
Boostio.
Well,
He's not even
right
bottom
there with
5.
2G
Oh.
and Boostio.
okay,
Sort it by KPR, because that's like how much actual fragging you're doing.
He's not bomb.
Well-
I've seen lower numbers.
Yeah.
okay,
I mean,
okay. Well,
That Boostio FNS match was legendary.
That really was fucking legendary, wasn't it? But I think
Boostio is 0.01 kills per round of better IGL.
He should tweet that out.
I think
That one's for free, Boostio.
Yeah.
the thing that gets lost in a little bit of this though too is that Verno didn't perform anywhere near like you were expecting from him based on what he showed in tier 2. Like he didn't play a good kickoff. He looked good in the off season. He looked like Verno from the off season. But then kickoff, I mean, maybe that's because of the internal problems, or maybe that's just as soon as he started underperforming, then it becomes no reason to really keep him around.
That's like a
because of
horse
all of
before cart kind of thing, right? Like, did the vibes get bad because he was underperforming, or did the underperformance start because the vibes are bad? I mean, who can say? But at the end of the day, the team is alleging he wasn't calming and the vibes were bad, and he wasn't performing. Like,
Yeah, they did actually say
the
that the
writing's
vibes
kind
were
of on the
bad.
wall.
They said the vibes were bad while they were winning. So that they said the
Yeah.
vibes were bad while he was still playing well in the offseason. So then I think it's
So
more
is
like
he
your
just a
second
shit
point.
hang? Is that just the narrative? Like,
I don't know that we should be psychoanalyzing the guy, but he just seems like a very normal case of a young person
sure.
trying to seem like he doesn't care about things to be cool. Like that just it doesn't feel like there's anything crazy going on here. It just feels like
I want Kurt to flame.
Well, I
someone.
think using the term vibes were bad is wrong. I forget what they said. They just said something was off, I believe.
Sure.
well, yeah.
I don't know.
'Cause
I
they
just
don't
don't
wanna-
like
they don't wanna be
speculating on
specific.
Come on,
someone's
Kurt. Flame
personality.
them. Flame them, Kurt.
That's a pretty mean thing to do if you're
And you know what?
speculating on someone's personality.
You're right.
Yeah,
Do you think that goats and snakes can get along, Kurt?
Yeah, of course.
But then the implication, who are the snakes
Who are
there?
the snakes?
Well, Finesse.
The
Finesse
snakes are the players who
Ethan,
are still on the team. I
Yeah.
assume.
presumably.
They also
Which-
lost their coach as well. We shouldn't
Right.
forget that.
Yeah.
That not only was Verno considered the belle of the ball, the belle of the coaching ball as well. I don't know if Mike's is also, what was he called, Clocksworth or whatever.
Cogsworth.
Cogsworth. I don't know if Mike's is the candle maybe in this. But like again, that was almost even more strange than the roster move, right? The coach was like, no, I'm going with the player that I've done before, and we're separating that, and I'm sticking with the player that I came with, which it's honorable from Bonkar, but it might lead to, I don't know. I guess FNS. I would assume that FNS, will have the power to probably do what he wants. I mean, if I was coaching this team, you'd probably like, if you were the coach, you'd probably want to somewhat defer and let FNS be comfortable. I think, kind of let him, kind of do what he thinks is right and not be too hands on. So I don't know, but it'll be interesting. It will be super interesting to see what happens if this doesn't work, right? Like
Yeah.
if this doesn't work, like what do they do?
Isn't this also
Retire. That's not even a joke. Finesse and
Yeah.
Som are just
Right.
out.
No, but like
this
let's say
year.
stage
Year
one goes bad, right? Let's say
Right,
stage
right.
one.
Mid-season
Like, do they-
retire. You don't want to lose out on that
Mid-season
co-streaming.
retire.
You don't want to lose out on the co-streaming revenue from
What does Som
covering-
do? Does Som then
retires
leave
as
too?
well.
Yeah, but then you're in, like, if you're NRG, you're then in a big mess, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean NRG at that point they just give the slot to Envy or something. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually think they're going to turn it around though.
Okay.
I had the same. My feeling from watching NRG at kickoff was that their ideas were good. Their players had really bad form for some kind of reason. I mean, at the time, I didn't realize that the internals within the team were so horrendous it was going to lead to people getting kicked. But I thought they had enough stuff that looked super fixable, and the player form was so much under what you would expect from them that they were just going to be fine next stage once they'd shaken it off and gone for a walk, basically. And now, if they have fixed the internal problems that they were having as well, yeah, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I don't think you get generationally bad performances out of Finesse again.
For an entire stage.
Yeah, for an entire year.
It's a lot easier to have a terrible kickoff.
Yeah. He's going to revert to his old, like not good, but like we shouldn't be putting the guy on pie watch every single map, is my take.
The thing is, they start off with 2 winnable games as well. Cloud9 and Furia.
For sure. 2 games they should win.
But then it gets harder, though. Then they play G2, MIBR, Lev, so they've maybe got a bit of time to, maybe not play their best in the first couple of weeks, but, still maybe can squeak out wins in those first couple of weeks.
I mean, I would be worried if they didn't play their best at the beginning. Because
I think they need to beat C9 and Furia to have a chance to make playoffs.
And they're also, they've had so much time off. And they actually did sign brawk a long time ago. I know we're only covering it now because we've been focused on Bangkok, but they've been working on this for quite a while. They've had some time here.
This is also like a reunion of the eras of the ancient Envy days when Mike's was coaching for Finesse way back when. So I imagine this is something that Finesse would have wanted to get that reunion with Mike's. And in that way, I think you have to be kind of hopeful that there's going to be some good synergy and a good team environment there. It's not like obviously it's been 3 years since you worked together, but it's not like you're establishing a coaching relationship for the first time ever, starting off on this team. And obviously brawk was super impressive in tier 2. So if they get the vibe right, and some of the players bounce back with individual form, it does feel like they are set up for a redemption arc in stage 1.
It is funny they're going up against Cloud9 though early on. I mean, like another life game from Zephyr, another comeback from 12-5 or 12-9 or whatever the hell it was. I mean, there's some real funny potential opening this one up with NRG versus C9. Let's move on though to blockbuster news. PaperX signed nataNk. He's going on the PatMen. Sorry, PaperX signed PatMen. And what is the deal with
this?
Not just
PatMen, PatMen.
Oh, PatMen. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
A few of them. So we've got Patrick Men,
Superman.
We only need a couple more. Yeah, Supermen. Yeah.
But we lost Sushi Boys. At what cost did we?
So, what the hell is going on here, though? Are they actually going to be running him in stage 1?
No,
I was confused reading this.
The implication seems to be that they've added him, but first of all, you have logistics of trying to get him on, and bring him here with the visa and everything, and they don't want to try to force that in stage 1. So the implication seems to be that he will be something they're looking forward to, in stage 2. But right now, they believe in this player. The way I'm taking it is they believe in this player, but they can't force that change right now in stage 1 logistically. So they're going to build up to it, ease him in. That way he can scrim during stage 1, and then they'll slot him in stage 2.
Who are they planning to replace for him, Chobra?
Well, that's the question from everybody, isn't it? But if you look at his agent pool, he can slot in for anybody, including Forsaken, quite frankly, because he just plays every single agent. So, I mean, they've got options. He could even sub in for, something. He has played Reyna, so, it's possible.
And the rumors are that they've been seen scrimming without something. Have they also been seen scrimming without others?
Yes. There's been rumors about scrims without, I think, Jing and Mindfreak and something, but a lot of them, I think, are just kind of one-offs. So, that's happened before, either someone has, a content shoot or they, went home or whatever. So, I wouldn't read into that too much. But I do think it could also just very well be that they have someone who's flexible. So now they can just continue to experiment different roles and comps. And then, they figure it out as they go. That's the PaperX way.
I want to ask you all about who you would replace, but first of all, I want to go back to Chobra and talk about Patrick, who only just got his visa approved, right?
Oh yeah.
So that was a long time in the works. That was 3 months or more in the works. This but PatMen is also from the Philippines. Is there a particular problem with getting Philippines?
Well, so Philippines has a really tough time just getting a visa to leave the country. That's the actual problem. It's not to actually come to Korea. It's just Filipinos can't leave the country very easily. They get blocked by their own government in leaving. I know that sounds crazy for a lot of us, but that is how it is for the Philippines. So that's one of the biggest problems. And then for Patrick Hu, I got to talk to LEVIATAN once about this, and he explained basically Patrick Hu's so young that he actually just doesn't have any sort of really official record, right? Like whether it's a credit card or whatever. So now you have like no documents to prove that like you're not going to run away or do whatever criminal activity abroad. And
it's so funny that his name's Patrick Hu, by the way, and he doesn't have any ID. It's, it's so thematic. So you don't think it's going to be an issue though here if you had
I think that's part of the reason they're probably just taking it slow, because they know that it's going to be really hard to try to get him on board for.
But surely amongst the many men the PatMen is, surely some of them have documentation.
I would assume so.
You're imagining the new Paper X player like he's 3 people in a trench coat.
Yeah, the transform. I'm thinking of Power Rangers. Sorry, you know they all
they combine together. He's like Exodia. Okay, so I want to return to the question that I teased earlier on, though. It's got the community by storm. Who would you actually get rid of if you wanted to make a change on Paper X? Because literally any player you pick, there's going to be a certain amount of people that go, you're fucking trolling. Why would you get rid of them? And that doesn't matter who you choose on the team. And yet, if you want to make a change, there has to be an answer that I was going to say works, but actually that's not the case. But there has to be an answer that's the best direction.
No one wants to answer this question. It's such a,
My lawyer said I don't have to answer this one.
Yeah.
Who would you pick, Josh?
Oh, turn it back onto me, you little...
Good, Mimi.
How's your gluey little legs feeling over there?
Well, I just tried to shift back to like get some lumbar support, and I could not move. So I'm very excited to have to try and get out of this later. But isn't that great? How about you? Who would you drop from Paper X?
I think if I was looking to make moves, I would actually...
What player would you fire and have them lose their livelihood, Josh?
Well, I don't know about lose their livelihood.
Who would you be willing to talk to in the face as they're crying at you? Please, please, mister. I mean, you've done it many times when you've evicted people from your many houses, I'm sure. Please, sir, let us live just for a week. Please.
The idea that the Paper X players would be tossed out on the streets and never be able to find work again, I think is very dishonest framing of you, frankly. I think I'd get rid of multiple players. I don't think I'd stop
at one. Yeah, classic Tory Sideshow. I'll evict you all. I only need to evict one, but today I'm feeling extra naughty.
The reason is...
You're all gone.
I think the team identity for Paper X is the thing that needs adjusting. I don't think it's necessarily
But you now also think that PatMen... I've convinced you that PatMen is multiple people. It's not multiple people. So you can't replace multiple of them with PatMen. It is just one guy.
But what I'm saying is I don't think one swap is going to be enough to actually change the way that
So who are you getting... Go on, tell us your multiple
the
changes then.
If I wanted to make multiple changes, it would be... I think a lot of it would have to come on like who I was bringing in as well. But I think I'd be looking to get rid of Jing because I think Jing is part of what makes this team silly gaming. And I think that Jing will still find a lot of success playing elsewhere. But I think Jing would be one of the players. And I'm not sure who the other player would be. I think you'd have to put Forsaken on like a hardcore supportive role. So I guess if we were playing like a double initiator meta, then I don't know. I don't really know. I think I'd leave the other one up to who I had as a good player that was available.
So you'd replace Jing.
No, but I'd also look to try to replace another so that you properly adjusted the team culture.
But
because I don't think just replacing Jing is going to like they when they had Monyet in for Jing. They just tried to put Monyet into Jing's position.
Role,
That isn't what I want to achieve. I want to achieve full structural reform. So somebody else has got to go.
Sounds like the French Revolution. You're like, we have to kill a certain... Why am I going German? But
I mean...
Ooh la la.
Wait, but TMV, why are you going crazy? Who would you replace?
Because
then?
he's just a fucking YouTuber, so he's giving me YouTube face reactions. He
I also
probably
do
agrees.
Twitch streams, by the way, twitch.tv/thinkingmansvalor, not just a YouTuber. But you can find the streams on YouTube as well if you want to.
Right.
But
Great.
I was just shocked because Jing is a fan favorite. You know, people love Jing, and I just thought, you know, it takes a cold, kind of heartless human being to do that.
And do you disagree?
I mean,
Look at this.
Look at this little guy. You're gonna fire him?
Look at that. That's the face he's gonna boy. You tell that cat that you're fired.
That cat would not be. That cat is not Jing.
Why would he put it on his profile picture on XC Everything app? No one would lie on the internet. No one's ever lied on that website.
You okay, Sideshow?
I'm pondering it. I might get rid of Forsaken as well.
You're not getting rid of Forsaken. That would be crazy. No one would get rid of Forsaken.
No,
like,
because
all
Forsaken,
of the other 4 options
but
you can make a
surely
case for.
Forsaken
There is no case for Forsaken.
But Forsaken
there is no
is,
case.
Forsaken's one of the load-bearing team style pillars.
He's also the best player on the team.
I know.
He's also one
but-
of the best players in the world.
I
You
know,
are
but
fucking
I
out
think-
of your mind.
No, but I think if you want to change the identity of the team, don't you kind of have to?
No, Sideshow, basically what you
No!
were saying is that you just want to drop the roster and go back to challengers and pick up 5 ranked guys.
No,
like, that's what you
I
want.
Yeah,
don't.
you just
wanna
want
build a
to
new
fucking
team.
build DRX.
No. That's not what I'm saying. How is a team that still has... Okay, if you change out Mind Freak or Devi, you're not going to change the team identity.
No.
If you change something in Jing, maybe you would. And so that's an option.
I think the
But I think-
cultural leaders are Forsaken and Jing, in my opinion.
That's
And
what I'm
if
saying.
you are-
That's why I
if you
think
are trying
you
to
might have
spark
to
a
shift them.
cultural revolution, Josh, you have to take it out at the head.
I'm not.
No, but
looking
you're
to-
acting like we've got no bread. You're acting like we've got no bread here, and we need like a revolutionary change. We're still eating, guys. We've still got food. We're still the bread is
You're not
there.
really
You know,
eating.
maybe it's not the nicest bread in the world.
Sorry,
You know,
we're
it could
not
be better.
fucking. We're not
mean-
eating right now. PaperX
Yeah.
is not eating. 10 different YouTube channels made 10 different versions of. This is how PaperX died. Like.
But Forsaken is not the reason.
But TNV, you're the elite. We're in an economic recession.
I'm the
and
elite. You're a
clinging
landlord.
to
Glued
the
to your chair.
He has
I'm
got
not
your
a
ass with
landlord,
that.
but I am glued to my chair. And in this position where I am forced to fucking sit here and listen to the dribble on this podcast, that I have reflected and realized that PaperX
You
will
can't
never
agree
be
with
different.
him.
They'll
Look
never
at
be
this.
different unless you change something. They'll always be the same, and the times have changed. Yeah, but what if they?
Dude, but this is
what
the
if
thing.
it's
This is
most
just a classic
what if it's the
right-wing
most
mindset. It's a classic
controversy
right-wing
we've ever
Tory
seen?
mindset. People can't change. You just think that Forsaken is trapped in this one body and can never reform to something better.
What if we
You have to
need a
believe in
coach?
systems. You can't just chop off the head straight away.
What if we get a coach that puts them on like the gruel
So now the
diet?
coach is the problem as well.
No, I'm saying we get owner, and he puts them on the
Owner?
6 hours of sleep. Gruel, discipline, exercise, not raw chicken, but unseasoned chicken and rice for
chicken.
every
Raw chicken.
meal. And they will soon learn that their luxury, the way they've been living their life is not the way to live. They will see the truth. They are going to have a complete vibe reset. They are going to realize, but they are but men in a machine that must do their damnedest to win, and they will remember who they are through a new culture and a new system.
If you look at PaperX, do you think there is a player that you could one-to-one replace with PatMen and you would change them into playing some sensible Valorant?
No, he's a new
Or
player. He's not going to have that sway.
Well, it depends on whether they're
You'd have to be a
because I think if they're
generational
making
leader.
well, I think if they're making PatMen
Churchill
play
in
initiative.
disguise.
I think if you're making him play Initiator or Sentinel, I think there's a chance, right? I think the problem, like you said, with the Monette situation was that they were like, it was still Raze was very big in the meta, so they felt they needed to play Raze, and he was a Raze player, so it all made sense. But here, if you have him play Initiator / Sentinel mostly, which is, you know, his most played roles, especially recently, I think that is enough to still change things. I think it is enough to
Can
still
I quickly
change
ask? He's not an IGL, is he?
things. Not on that team. I don't know if he's IGL'd before, but he wasn't on Nous.
Okay.
So they're still gonna go with the whole, brain meld situation.
I think
here.
you could argue that might be, like, that's the thing. You could argue, I think that might be the bigger problem. That if you had an IGL that they all agreed, like, this is a true IGL, and everyone had to listen to them, that might be the way out of replacing someone, and you change the culture somewhat. If you did have that. Or just lock them in a room with Brent. Or in fact, lock them in a room with Alice with the little thing.
There you go. Yeah. With Joe Marsh on the line for some reason.
I think a lot of people are going to look at the success that T1 had at this event playing double duelist and be like, but PaperX could do that. But when you look at T1, they didn't play, like, they had such well thought out theory behind what they were doing. It wasn't improv.
It was always one was an initiator. Like, one was always an initiator, one way or another. Either you're creating space by movement or you're, with flashes or whatnot. So it was never really the old double duelist of, like, flying in together, high-low dives, things like that.
Yeah.
It's not like they're playing Raze Arena every map.
Or that. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on, though. The PaperX discussion will have to wait for some more data, I think. MIBR have also made changes. Now,
dude, more data. You literally sound like a man who you sound like a consultant that's been brought in to cut the labor force. You're like, well, I'm suggesting we need to make at least 20% layoffs to meet quotas.
Are you one of those people working for Doge?
No. I mean, they probably all are about as smart as me, which is fucking worrying. Okay, MIBR. They got rid of Nozwa. So they waited until after Christmas Eve. They waited until the next big break, Easter, and they decided to get rid of Nozwa then instead. I was like, the whole vibe of this team was Aspas gets to pick who he plays with. Yeah. And they built the roster.
With his friend.
Yeah, like Sassy was talking about how he suggested Cortesia and Shenom, and so Aspas picks them up. They want to keep Ardazine around because he played well last year. Nozwa, though, let's reunite them. This is what Leviathan was supposed to be last year, and now they've booted him out after he failed to be able to IGL them well.
But isn't this this to me is maybe the most surprising of all of them. Because, like you say, from what we know, from what we know from Lev as well, Aspas wanted to play with Nozwa, right? He wanted to. They finished way above, they did better than probably most people expected them to. And I understand that, that was Aspas carrying in some of those games. He had the best of 3 performance of all time. But yeah, that's what the team is. Like, that's how you build your team. Like, that's the fucking point. Like, you would, it maybe was a bit better than even, like, you would normally expect, but yeah, that's the fucking point. This is Aspas's team, and Aspas carrying you is going to be a big win condition. And so, this is why it's so confusing to me, because assuming they haven't fallen out and are still friends, and still get on, it's like, well, it worked. Like even if you think, he wasn't doing the best IGLing, he wasn't doing the best fragging, all that kind of stuff, you wanted to change some of those dynamics. I just found it strange that a team that finished 3rd, that probably slightly overperformed, and was a team that we were probably expecting to get better as a team throughout the season with some inexperienced players, and the reason that you built the team worked, I find that strange. Because unlike on the other ones, like with nataNk, you could say, oh yeah, it was, behind the scenes. But if the whole guy you've built the team around, we know that he's friends with this guy, as I say, unless they've fallen out, I find it very strange. Okay. Very strange.
But here's my question for you. How much of their success was to do with Nozwa? Because he ended up not being the IGL. He was their lowest fragging player. He's like he's a solid player.
Yeah, I'm not
a terrible player, but he's like solid. But if he's not IGLing and he's not one of your best performing initiators in the region, you can look to make an improvement here.
Like, my argument though would be, again, you've built this team around Aspas. I would say that Zelsis fits into that category as well, right? He's not the best fragger. He's not an IGL. He won a fucking Masters last year.
Yeah, if you go and you cut every lowest fragging player on a team, you don't have any teams. Like, what do you?
Sorry, something
you
fell off my wall.
You look like Joe Biden walking into the jungle there for a second.
Now, my VCT Americas thing fell off my...
your challenge coin.
My wall. And so I was worried because I just put a bunch of pictures up on the wall that they were all about to fall off at once.
God,
no,
that would
it's
be
okay.
that would be content, wouldn't it?
Who? I mean, the rumors are that they're looking towards Verno. I assume because Aspas has been seen
Doesn't
duoing
that
with
make
him.
that very strange though?
I mean, that's fucking
Yeah.
ridiculous, is what I would say.
Unless he's like Kurt and just can, knows Portuguese.
Artazine does speak very good English, extremely good English, and he's their caller.
Sure.
Aspas obviously can also.
yeah.
I mean, he speaks
got
good
used
English.
to
He
it,
played
yeah.
on an English-speaking
Yeah.
team for a year.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Yeah.
fine there.
I have
Yeah.
no idea about Shinoma Cortesia. No idea.
Cortesia speaks English,
Okay.
or at least
Thank
Okay.
God that
Good enough
that
English
Kurt
to
is
understand.
embedded in the Brazilian scene and he knows them all.
But
he didn't
Oh,
interview
God.
on
Surely
VCT
it's a-
Americas.
What
Surely
about
it's a
Shannon? Do
bad
you know
thing,
Shannon?
though?
No, he
Oh,
doesn't.
sorry.
Kurt,
He doesn't?
you've only
Okay.
been speaking to him in Portuguese.
Yes.
Surely, though, if their plan is to shift the team to English speaking, they still have someone who doesn't speak English, and then they have two players who have never played on an English speaking team before. Surely that's just bad for the vibe. Like, I know we're all out like diagnosing vibes and we don't know, but it feels like bad news bears to drop Noswar again, and to pick up a guy that had
It
a
literally
worse
got cut from his
performance
team
than
for
Noswar.
bad vibes.
Yeah,
like he got
like-
cut for bad vibes.
It doesn't feel like a setup for success.
By the way, NRG didn't realize that Verno was going to be a bad fit for their system until a couple of months
Yeah.
in, right?
Sure.
So it's not like he's
He's not like a
obviously a
horrible
bad fit.
person who's being like something just went wrong in the team.
right. So, but the bad part about that is you might be an MIBR, think actually the NRG were
alright.
smoking, like this guy's perfectly fine, and then a couple months down the road you might realize that, oh, okay, now we realize what the issue was.
The other thing is, wasn't
risk.
another one of NRG's critiques that he like in like high pressure situations he wasn't like as communicative as they wanted?
I believe they said that, yes.
Does that not compound if he's playing in a team where like culturally the rest of the team is all Brazilian, some of them are being like switching over to calming in English for the first time and like doing a
Isn't that better? He's like Fukashu. He just runs around doing his own
Yeah.
shit, never comment.
Yeah.
I guess.
Noswar is
but-
also Argentinian.
Well, yeah, but he's played on Brazilian teams quite a lot.
But I know
He's-
that like Argentina and Brazil,
That's not what I'm saying.
you just
You-
can't. No,
you're
I'm
the
not saying that either.
tournament.
I'm just saying that calling an Argentinian Brazilian, they might not appreciate it. They just have a bit of a rivalry. They just have a bit of a rivalry. And I say a bit, I mean quite a lot. But it's fine. Noswar, he's Argentinian. He speaks Portuguese though, I think.
Can we do the tier list, Josh?
He's friends with Aspas.
Can
Yeah,
we
maybe-
do the tier list?
Do we-
Get the
do we
Talon.
move
I mean,
on?
I think we have nothing more to say about this, right? We're just all
Yeah, it's
confused. Yeah.
Dude,
It's
get
weird.
Sassy back on the team.
Oh
There's
my
Sassy.
god,
There-
the
there
sassy
you go.
return would go fucking hard.
That would be hard. Yeah.
Didn't Sassy tweet something that was like demon emoji or something like that?
Oh fucking hell, get sassy back in.
I assume he was baiting.
He
but
he
I-
was baiting,
fucking
but
love
I
that.
assume it's as a content creator somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be very funny though. That would be fantastic. Let's move on. We do actually have two more things to get to though, but we'll rattle through them, Mimi, for you.
Yeah.
All right,
That's all right.
Talon.
We can take our
This
time.
one's huge though.
Well,
Talon-
Mimi's staying
big.
because the glue is set.
Oh well,
So
yeah.
we can go as slow as you like. She's not leaving.
Once I rip myself out of this chair, I'm not coming back. So
Talon
all the
got
time.
rid of Ban and Governor. And this was like
Yeah.
this was during Bangkok, wasn't it? I think this news dropped. I think while we were
The
there.
news dropped, yeah, like right after it started or something. Yeah. Or right as
February-
it started.
Yeah, February 21st.
2 days into the event.
Yeah.
So Talon released Governor and Ban, and they. I mean, first of all, do you think they needed to make a move? They probably were disappointed that they didn't make this event.
Yes, I think so. Just because at some point, obviously, I don't know exactly all the inner workings, but they just look disjointed every time they're inconsistent, right? And you have to imagine that language has to play a big part. But at some point, you're a Thai team with 3 Thai players, so the English speakers are just the minority there. And regardless of what your aim might be at your peak, like if things just don't go well, like let's say like it could be that Governor and Ban made all the best calls on the team, right? Like regardless of crews, they could have made all the best decisions themselves, but if no one's able to follow through, like that's still bad, right? So while I don't know the details, like you have to imagine from the outside that played a part in it. And if you're making a change like that really is the only reasonable change you could have made, quite frankly. So I mean, I think it's very understandable.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was on Plat Chat and saying like this team is like they have the potential to be very, very good, right? Like they could be like legit challenging for deep in tournaments. That's where they could be, and that's where I thought they should aim to be. And it seems like they're kind of agreeing. Now there are still some questions I would say. It's gonna be. I mean, this probably won't happen because Frost will probably just tell Cruz in English and then Cruz will just translate. But it would be amazing if Frost started learning Thai and started doing his...
started going off in Thai.
Yeah, started going off in Thai. That would be amazing. But the other question, of course, is Primi duelist. Like he surely is gonna be the duelist now, right? And that will be interesting to see. How you don't think so, Choba?
I mean, I just don't know with that guy. I just think he says I want to play this agent in this patch, and they kind of just have to go with it because he's their best player.
They aren't duelist players.
They don't have another agent.
Well, right, but I'm just saying. I mean, we just all thought he was obviously the duelist before, and it just didn't happen either. So.
He actually looked worse, in my opinion, when he was on duelist. I think he has a lot of development before he's going to become a top tier duelist.
Exactly.
Don't
and
worry,
I think
he
that
just
it would
plays
change.
Clove, who's really good this patch.
Well, yeah, unlucky.
The Premi medal lineups.
But I think this team is also going to have to change their identity massively, because if they do end up with Premier on duelist, he is not okay. He's directly replacing Governor, I suppose you could say. And he wasn't lighting the world on fire, but he played a completely different style. He played a super selfless, send it in kind of duelist, and that is not the way that we've seen Premier play duelist at any point. So they're probably going to play a more slow, cautious kind of style. And you've got two new players.
Or they could just deathball it, quite frankly. I think that's a possibility, especially in the current meta, right? Where kind of anything goes, and you just deathball it and say, hey, we're all going to kind of meat shield for Primi, and he's just going to clean up.
But now we can every round.
Yeah, but now we can do that in sync because we're all on the same language and the same comms, right? So like you can just kind of rush as many rounds as possible and play the numbers game. And then the two guys he picked up are really good in terms of individual performance. So I think that's a possibility as well.
I think that kind of style will probably get you to a playoffs level, but I don't think it's going to get you to an international event.
It was fair.
And that I think is what this team has got to be going for, right? Like if you're dropping ban and Governor after you made champs last year, you've got to be hoping that you become more successful, which I think more successful means making it to at least one of the events this year. And Bangkok's already sailed by.
Yeah, but I think they might even have a better chance just because, like, in those high pressure situations, they should be able to just fight back, right? Like, granted, yes, the two guys like don't have the experience, but now like they don't have to worry about our plans and our strategy and whatever comps and are we working together, all of that. Like, it's just like let's just play ranked. Like, you could even Cruz could even just go like, all right, you know what, just like play ranked. Like, let's get this round over with, and that could have probably consistently performed better on average than their previous ones, even if the peak might be lower. So, I do think their peak is a question mark, right? Just because we don't know. But I think their average will actually be higher, at which point you have to assume that they will make it to another international, or they have a good chance just because Pacific's so stacked in the mid-range. But
yeah, I think they are definitely going to be shooting back. I don't know the new players that they brought in too well, but I have seen the stat stuff that Glue has been putting up at the level that he's been playing at with full sense. And that seems very impressive. Don't know too much about Thai, but I got to anticipate that they're shooters and they're going to be.
Oh no, they're. I think both of them will be very exciting to watch as long as they don't, like, especially in the case of Thai, like they don't break under the pressure. But especially, but also like Primi's there, right? Like, and he adjusted fine, and he knows Thai like from before, so I think they should be able to onboard them pretty well. And I think Cruz is also very good at onboarding teammates like into that pressure situation. So I think you got to give him credit for that. Yeah.
Now I have 3 rookies on the team though, which is a large amount of rookies.
Yeah, and they have a coach who doesn't speak Thai, presumably, also, and like they're going to be dealing with that as well. But at least you kind of have the team on. I don't know. To me, this does not sell is going to be better. At least not this year. Like, I feel like expectations. Obviously, they're high. That's why the org wanted to make the move. But I would be pretty surprised if they made Toronto.
Maybe
they made champs as a top 4.
Kurt speaks Portuguese and Thai. God. God
yeah, I
damn.
speak every
Okay.
language. It's hidden
Oh,
talent.
every language.
Yeah, everyone. Like even ones that
Nice.
don't exist anymore.
An
Yeah.
omniglot.
What
He's
did
speaking
ancient
Proto-Indo-European.
Greek sound like?
Let's go to our final. This is the final roster move that we're going to cover before we go into the power rankings, and a pretty short one. FPX. They have signed Shrimp to replace Berlin. So Berlin has, for personal reasons, I believe he said, ended up leaving FPX. I don't know why, but I feel like that's a pretty major loss for FPX. They're now going to have Autumn IGLing, I believe, which is,
That's wild.
I don't know how that's going to work necessarily, because he speaks like Berlin previously. For anyone who's forgotten about FPX, they had some portion of their team speaking Mandarin, some portion of their team speaking English. Autumn was learning, but was at a really basic level. And he even talked to us at one of the international events and was like, nah, man, like back, like I got, what did he say? We spoke to him and we were like, how good is your Mandarin actually? We heard that you were like good enough to be able to communicate with the team. And he said, nah, that was just a bunch of people from the Australian scene were taking the piss, and said that I was like fluent in Mandarin when I got signed.
Yeah, he's
So-
been. My understanding was, I think the last time I talked to him, or like, I don't remember if it was me or a pre-tape I watched, but at like Champions, he was like learning the language and was like getting there and could communicate basic things. But like, obviously, it's kind of a different level of communication when you're in like big matches under pressure and stuff. He's not like.
And IGLing. It's
He's
one
not-
thing to.
Well, yeah,
like-
now it's
Yeah.
IGL.
It's one thing to
I mean,
understand.
that's
It's one thing to
that's
give commands.
crazy. Like,
I think that's wild.
that.
How are they
that
going to do that?
spells
So much trouble.
disaster. I mean,
Surely someone else is doing a bit of translating on the team. We just don't know who at this point.
Yeah, but,
But
even if
even
you
then-
are, like, if
Kurt,
can
I
you
think.
imagine not Kurt? He's just in there here. Can you imagine that you're the guy who has to put your foot down and like lead the team, and you just have no clue if they're actually gonna either understand or listen? You know what I mean? Like you just actually don't have control. Like they might have good vibes and they might listen for the time being, but there's no guarantee that you have control, which is
He
crazy
must
to
be.
me.
The only way that you can make something like this work is if you have a deep strat book and you're pulling rounds out of a strat book. And so, beginning of the round, before the barriers drop, you just say like a split or whatever, and everyone knows like that's what happens. And then the mid rounding is taken over in the same way that it would.
He's
normally.
just
We
saying
got four
random
ideas:
words in
A hit,
Mandarin.
A split, B hit, B split. We got four rounds.
Well, you can have more than four, but I think genuinely trying to make sure that in all of your preparation time, you simplify the pre-round calling as much as you possibly can.
But that
'Cause
surely
otherwise-
puts a limit on how successful
Absolutely.
your team can be. I mean,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Autumn won a Masters with that same method, coaching a Korean team. So I'm sure you can do it as an IGL in China. I think that'll be fine. You know, picking plays out of the book.
A is weak. A is weak.
But, I mean, when T1 have been doing their VOD reviews and they're like, this was the thing that we spotted in the macro of what G2 were doing that allowed us to get the advantage. Like, how, even if Autumn identifies that, how is he communicating that effectively, like before the barriers drop? That's so tough.
he's gonna call a timeout and just like begging the admin for his phone so he can pull up Google Translate.
Pass it around one to one.
Does anyone know anything about Shrimp? I do not know anything about Shrimp.
No, not much.
He looks really
it's a
similar to
Chris
Kerrigan.
Yeah,
Who,
yeah.
Shrimp?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
There's a side by side half cut image.
It does look quite similar to Kerrigan, yeah.
Wait, that's
But he's not going to be
crazy.
IGLing.
No, he's not going to be IGL.
That's
He has the look. He
disappointing.
doesn't have the leadership of Carrion.
Well, maybe he'll find it within himself to take over. But if you compare, like, Berlin was a crazy player. He was doing some
gonna
ludicrous
miss him.
stuff on the regular. Yeah, it's like losing Redguard.
And their coach as well, though.
Yeah.
Their coach.
Yep,
They
and
changed
their
their
coach.
coach from, I can't remember what the old guy's name was, but he was
Nathan D.
like cooking up, triple controller, crazy stuff. That probably is gonna go away as well now, which is a great shame because I loved FPX.
Mhm.
Watching it, like FPX turning up to those internationals last year, and just like even though they didn't win, playing some of the best games of the entirety of last year. Those were some of the most fun times, especially when they're hooking up mad shit. Sometimes it was shit, but sometimes it was good.
Okay. Let's get on to power ranking then. We'll see where we put these teams.
Oh,
Now-
5 minutes. And we'll
In order to get this done, like we have an hour and a half maximum to get this done, and I don't even want to get close to that. I don't even want to get close. I want us to be banging teams in, banging them in. What do you mean, Chobra? What were you expecting? You want to sit here for 8 hours?
No, I
I
don't
mean, he's
want
glued
to,
the chair
but
again, so
I'm not usually the one that's dragging it on for 3 hours.
No, that's
so-
true. That's very true. Until we get to RRQ, and then you'll be.
yeah, then we'll have a
Well,
big...
we'll see
and
about that
Nongshim
from
now
now
as
on
well.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Now-
Nongshim.
I'd like to start with G2 should be at number 1.
Real quick.
Well, I think we
just
should
as
do
a
the
little-
top-
A little surprise. Seth said he wanted to come in every once in a while to break your NA bias.
Oh,
Okay.
great.
Oh, can
I
I
think
call
that'll
bias?
do it.
NA bias from me
Wait,
and
how many
Joe, bro.
lifelines?
We
How many
balanced it this
lifelines does
time.
the Pacific team get? How many lifelines do I get to call in and kill you?
I think that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good. I think that's a good.
3 phone
cadence.
of friends.
I think that's a good
Yeah.
cadence. Chobra gets to phone someone, replace one of you 3 with Seth.
There you go.
Temporarily.
Okay.
Okay.
He can come in, say his
down.
take, and then you come back.
All right.
And are we
Okay,
saying
so-
that Achilles like is the word of God? Like we can't
It depends on what he says.
Well, he could tip the tie
I just
as well,
heard
right?
him.
Yeah, we're here.
He's in
He
the
could tip
wall.
the
He's in
tie.
the walls.
He's in the walls. I think G2 should be at number 1 rather than T1.
Hey, I'd
Immediate
like to
NA
phone a
bias.
friend.
All right, who are we replacing?
Sideshow.
Oh,
Get
no.
him out of here.
Well,
All right, bye.
Hi, Josh.
He's here.
Hello, Achilles.
Hello, it's me, God. I'm here to fix your shit.
So, why should T1 be number 1, Achilles?
Number 1 team in the world.
Why?
They have a trophy. Where's G2's trophy? They have an Ascension trophy. That's from like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, they won
T1
America's
got one
kickoff.
a week ago.
The greatest
So-
trophy anyone could ever win.
Yeah, that's the real trophy, the America's kickoff.
But-
T1 won the event. They should be the number 1 team in the world. Sorry, G2. You choked too many times.
Yeah, legitimately, like, also listening to last week's episode, I get what Sideshow was trying to say, but at the end of the day, if you can't prove it, right, if you can't do it consistently and prove it, like, you can't be the best, you know what I mean? Like, you have to get over that hump. Like, we can all talk about the potential and the theory, but if you can't show it, like, you could study all you want and ace all the practice tests, and then if you get a 90 and someone else gets 100, you're just not the smartest guy in the class. Like, no one's gonna know, but, you know, you're just not.
I think
that's
you
kind
could
of a
look at-
Sounds like
problematic
Chobra had an
view.
argument with some kid.
Yeah.
Sounds like experience. You're not the smartest guy. You're not the smartest kid. Unlucky.
You're not the smartest one.
I think you could look at G2 at the end of the year, and if they continue to make like second place finishes, like T1 crash out, they
Sure.
don't do anything, and then it's just like different people in the finals versus G2 at every event. And
Sure.
you can say G2 is the best team of the year,
Sure.
But right now,
we are
T1's the
making a
best team in the
power
world.
ranking of this moment in time. of
exactly, which is
March
why you
the
can't
10th,
put G2 there. You have
2025.
to go with T1 because T1 won the fucking
Okay,
trophy.
before we bring Josh back, what's your
Oh, we have
top
to bring him
3?
back?
We do.
Yes,
My
at some
top
point.
3?
At some
Wait,
point.
I
Your
can't
top
just keep
3 set.
replacing all of you with Achilles?
It
Just
would
three
be
of-
T1, then G2.
Okay, that seems fair.
We're doing this top 3. Yeah. Oh, top 3 is hard.
What's your number 3,
T1,
Seth?
G2. My number 3, it's probably
DRX. Thanks so
DRX.
much.
Yeah, all right, I'm ready to leave. Chobra, I'm here. You got 2 more pulls, and I'll be on standby.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you
Seth.
for your service.
What is that photo? TF2 looking ass, Josh.
oh, have you seen yours?
Oh
Have you
yeah.
seen yours, Mimi?
No,
Turn off
I've
your
not.
camera. Turn
Oh,
off your
turn the
camera.
camera off.
Turn the camera off.
There we go. And now start. For any
Is that-
audio
is
listeners,
that
Mimi's.
from Copenhagen when I'm in the corner at that ice cream shop that I dragged you guys on like a mile walk through the cold to get to.
It certainly looks like it, doesn't it?
Oh
It
my
certainly
god.
looks like it.
I
All right, let's.
forgot about that.
What on earth is DRX doing at number 3? Is that really
okay.
locked? Is that how that's
No,
working?
it's not
No,
locked. You
get 'em
can
down.
give the NA or EU bias case to change it, Josh.
Well, it has to be EDG or
Fortnite.
Vitality, doesn't it?
Yeah, most likely.
I was really disappointed in what EDG put together towards the end of the tournament, but they did finish 3rd. So I guess, according to Chobra, the rankings are sacrosanct, and we must not in any way apply our own human opinions. We must simply go by the results.
I think so I was somewhat with you, Josh, that G2 could be first, but I'm happy. I don't give that much of a shit, and I don't want to be here for 5 hours. So.
All right, let's just throw
I'm
it up
happy
in
with
the
this.
order that Bangkok.
Yeah, I think the
was
top 4.
Yeah.
I think the top 4 you can just do in the order.
I
think
I
you can go
do
EDG
think-
3,
I think that's
Vitality
okay.
4.
I
but
felt
that-
like Vitality, I don't know. Like they did lose to EDG in the game, but I think it was a meteoric
No, they didn't.
show.
They didn't
Like-
play EDG.
Oh wait.
They lost to T1.
No, they lost to T1.
They lost to
oh,
G2
you're
and
so
T1.
right.
So they Vitality only lost to the teams that got into the grand finals. So that's why I'm saying there
Yeah.
actually is a case for them being
I'm
third. But I
fine with Vitality being third. Just because EDG also they straight up said like they just weren't cooking up enough to keep up, right? And they were like they almost sounded surprised that they got third. The way they were talking about their games.
I still stand by that T1 game was a big choke from Vitality. Like the attack sides they were showing on that split were absolutely dreadful. It looked formless. I didn't see what was going on. But I think if you're fucking hell, if you're looking at the whole tournament, I think that Vitality showed me more I was happy about than EDG. I mean, Durka looked in absolute like world beater form. The team looked really, really good up until those last two maps, and they lost to our best team in the world. So I think you gotta give them the nod.
My
for top
counter would
three.
be that EDG did beat G2. That is the thing
Sure.
that did
and
happen.
they
True.
stomped them actually on
Yes.
Yeah.
like a couple of the maps. I'm fine with either in either place.
I'm fine with either.
I would defer to the rankings really and just put
Yes,
Yeah, sure.
I would keep our logical conclusion of EDG,
Which
If
is
T1 are
bullshit, by the
first,
way.
EDG.
I disagree with the
them
logic
third.
entirely, but let's do it then.
Put
All right,
them third, Kurt.
let's do it.
Please,
So
please.
ED
I'm putting my foot down. I'm
EDG
Achilles
third,
now.
Vitality fourth, and then fifth place, if you went by Bangkok, would be
DRX.
DRX and Team Liquid.
Right.
Or
DRX.
Team
DRX
Liquid.
above Liquid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
DRX
for
above Liquid
sure.
for sure.
Honestly, put Liquid 48 for what these fuckers did to me. My legs are starting to like tingle. I don't think that this much glue is supposed to be this close to a human body.
If we glued the chair to the ceiling, would you stay there?
No, this shit is not strong. Fucking CVS, your glue is ass. Like
Right.
it's like
She says with her ass all over the glue.
yeah.
All right, let's keep moving though. Let's keep moving.
Sure.
So then it would be Sentinels and Trace. Now,
Yeah.
this I think is where we could
Ooh,
even start
yeah.
bringing in some teams that didn't make it to Masters Bangkok, frankly.
Yes.
But let's throw Sentinels and Trace up there for now,
Alright.
and we can always adjust it afterwards. But who are some teams that didn't make it that really impressed you anyway?
Well, you know,
You'd probably
Notion
put
Red
like
Force,
Gen.G next, I
RQ.
guess.
Okay.
Of
well,
the rest,
they didn't impress, but I see what you're saying. They have the skill to
yeah, and they
potentially
finished
be
third,
there.
right? I'm not misremembering.
Yeah,
did finish
yeah,
third
they
at
did
the Sentinels.
finish third.
Yeah, okay. So
You've
let's
got, like, who were the third place teams? Wasn't FUT, was it?
Heretics,
Heretics. Oh God. where'd you put
Gen.G.
Heretics on
Yeah,
this
are
list?
we putting Heretics up there though with the way that they played?
They played so poorly at the end, but you also know that they're better than that. And they
Well,
looked
yeah,
pretty solid towards
BLG.
earlier in EMEA. Like they were
MIBR.
cooking.
Yeah. They
I think Heretics has to be like top 10, but I don't know where they go.
Okay, well, let's throw them in for now. Would you say there's an argument for putting Heretics above Trace or Sentinels? 'Cause
I
don't
think there's
there
an
really
argument.
is.
I mean, Trace looked.
I think
I know
above
Trace is better than what they showed at Bangkok, but my God, they looked horrible at Bangkok.
Yeah, but during
but
kickoff-
Heretics also looked horrible
Yeah.
in their last
Yeah.
few
Yeah,
games
you are
as well,
very
so
right.
that's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
Like I do think that I feel like Gen.G of the third place team
I-
would be the one, but even that I don't want to put them above the teams that qualified because I
Quite
don't.
frankly, and this isn't, you're not going to believe it, this isn't even bias. I actually just think like Gen.G, RRQ, and Nongshim all look better
He
than
tried to
Heretics
sneak
and
RRQ
Trace.
Yeah,
Like-
no bias though.
No, I
No
really.
bias.
By the way,
No
Gen.G
bias.
are Gen.G actually changing their roster? Or what are they doing? Are they just chilling with their
There's
current
nothing
roster?
official. There's nothing official, but there's all sorts of rumors about like 20 different people trying out for the team.
Right.
Yeah. There's probably a change coming, is probably the
And they
safe
haven't sorted
assumption.
out yet. Fucking put them for you.
Here's how I want to do this. Let's throw up some teams that you quite liked during kickoff. We don't need to worry about the order just yet, but let's just
put
throw
them
them
up
on the
there.
board for now. So let's throw up Gen.G. Let's throw up RRQ.
Let's throw
sorry,
Billy
not
Billy,
RRQ,
put
sorry.
them somewhere.
Let's throw up
BLG.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Nongshim. Yeah,
Wait,
we can have
who's-
Talon.
Yeah.
Well, Talon
Wait,
with
wait.
their new roster though,
Yeah.
I'm not sure we
Yeah,
can give them.
let's hold off on Talon.
Let's hold off on Talon for a sec.
Can
though.
we give a BLG nod here?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we
No?
can.
What? I
Well,
mean,
I don't
I'm
think-
outnumbered. I'm
we're just-
outnumbered. So
we're
for
just
now,
nodding them onto the board.
now.
you
Just,
know,
I'm
Trevor.
not saying they're a top 12
Yeah.
team. I'm just saying
Yeah.
like they're in the top half. You know, maybe the top
discussion.
third.
Yeah. Okay.
MIBR and crew.
Foot
That's right.
for sure, right? Oh,
Yeah, but
MIBR,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah. I
MIBR
thought,
for
I
sure.
thought, I
Americas.
thought you said Furia for a second, and I was shocked,
don't
but
even
no.
Worry.
That
There's a
foot, all
spot for
good.
them in the low 40s. that-
Yep.
It's got their name
I
on it.
would put RRQ in the discussion of the top half for sure.
Hear me out,
Jesus
NRG.
Christ.
Of course you would.
Of course you would.
Hear you out, NRG. Relax, Buster. Relax.
I'm not putting. Yeah.
Crew surely before it. Crew showed more than NRG, surely.
Showed
but are you guys-
more, but it's
wait, are-
today.
Wait, I can't believe I'm just getting shafted just because of my past antics. Like RQ actually played.
Well, yeah,
well
past antics
during
have
kickoff.
consequences, buddy. Welcome to the real world.
This is crazy.
Let me get a
This is
reminder of what
crazy.
RRQ did. So I'm looking at the bracket now on my other monitor.
Oh,
So
God.
they beat DFM. They lost
big
to
one there.
Gen.G. Then they beat Secret and lost to Nongshim.
Jesus
I
Christ.
do
Put
remember
'em
their
in
form being all
53.
right. I remember their
No, but
form
the-
being all
the-
right,
the-
but
the content of the match is what you should be looking at.
yeah,
right.
I agree because I'm
Especially
going
for
to say the
kickoff.
same thing later on about teams like 100 Thieves and NRG. I'll be real with you.
Listen,
Yeah, I
I'm
do
just
think that
saying,
they
like,
looked all right.
also even within Pacific, like this year for the first time, every player I talk to, they will always say like RRQ is a contender to go because the content I think is always
And
like
the thing is, Chobra, you're
No, I'm not
probably
saying they're
right,
a
but you're
top
the
10
boy
team.
who cried wolf.
I'm-
Every month, every
I'm a
year, every
changed
time
man.
you're on.
I'm
It's
a do you
RRQ
see?
this.
Do you
And
see
now with
any
your
yellow on my
Nongshim shirt,
screen?
do you want me
I
to
don't
point out
see
you
any-
said put Talon down there? Talon beat Nongshim, and some of the maps weren't even close.
But it's a new roster. It's a new roster for Talon.
Yeah, but it's probably an improvement.
Is it?
Oh,
I think
gosh.
I
we'd
think
have
they
to have
will
a
be.
talk.
No,
about
I
that.
would say Talon's an improvement.
Throw,
But anyway.
throw
Let's-
RRQ on there.
Yeah.
I'm down for that. Cushy looks like one of the best
Yeah.
rookies of the year, honestly.
But then I'd say
Yeah.
you have to put Talon on there.
Yeah.
Chobra
Go on
just
then,
said,
go on
Chobra,
then.
our
In the top
Pacific
half?
expert.
Go on
Get
then.
right, get me
Top half?
fucking
No,
Achilles.
I would-
Get me Achilles. I'm calling him. Achilles, come on,
We don't
show
need him. We
yourself.
have 4
Show
Pacific
yourself.
teams.
Oh,
Who am I
spirits in the
replacing?
sky.
I think TMV is asking to
Alright,
die
bye.
for Achilles' sins.
All right, Kilios.
Hello.
Hello, Achilles. Are there, what do you think about the RRQ Talon? New Talon, by the way, not old Talon. Are they
I
worthy of
would-
being in our second tier?
I think Talon has improved. I would agree with Chobra. I think that this is a step up for them and a move in the right direction. How that comes together, I'm not sure. I would be fine with putting them up there, but I would put RQ above them, despite the loss. previously.
Okay. All right. If that's the case, then what do you feel about DFM? Because they also finished in the same kind of place in the bracket. But I do not feel as good about DFM personally.
I would RQ over DFM, and DFM maybe equal to Talon.
All right. Okay.
I think there's enough unknowns with Talon, and I think DFM's been trending in an okay-ish direction.
You just made it sound like a fucking Nazgul, Chobra. You just... was
It's
that
authentic.
the idea of DFM being equivalent to Talon? Was that?
Yeah, I just think DFM is still a tier below. I think they're tier 3, but not tier 4. But that's a later
Okay.
discussion, I guess.
Okay.
I think for me, it's in question just because you do have some newer talent coming into the roster. How long does it take for them to get their bearings and that kind of stuff for Talon? So that's why I think that it's going to be a little bit rougher off the rip. But who knows?
All right.
Maybe they come in and they just look like gods. I mean, Primi kind of did in that series versus Secret. So
In order to simplify, I'd like to drop DFM down, and I wanna start nominating some teams from other regions.
Other
as
regions,
well.
yeah.
Yeah. Which means we don't need our Pacific analyst anymore. We need
outta here.
TMV back.
I mean,
We need our EMEA analyst.
Here, I'll give you one for free. I'll give you one
Okay.
for free if you can pull the board back up, Kurt, and you can lock this. You don't have to worry about it.
We don't need
Secret
to
and
lock
48.
this.
All right, goodbye.
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna lock Secret.
No,
and
no,
48.
it's fine.
Get,
Just leave
get
it. It's
TMV back in here.
Seth locked it.
Get the spirit of Christmas past gone.
Oh,
I
dear.
think we need to be taking a look at so we've already got Foot up there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we put up Foot up there. I think from
Fnatic.
Europe, I think we also need to be thinking about Fnatic.
Yeah.
Thinking
But
about
there's
them.
a difference
in
between
the
thinking
tier.
and doing.
And I also think we need to be
BBL.
thinking about BBL as well, because BBL looked all right. And then I think we need to stop thinking about EMEA.
Yes.
Yep.
Um,
we
No, Fnatic as well. Put
Yeah.
Fnatic and BBL in this range, I would say, Kurt.
Yeah, in the range.
They're in the 20s.
And then for Americas, for Americas,
Loud,
is
I
the
think.
Yeah.
Vicky, honey, get me
Oh,
on the
I
board.
love my honey, my beautiful honey, Vicky.
And then depends what you think about Lev. I think,
100
as well,
Thieves.
and 100 Thieves and NRG.
I'll be
100
honest
All
with you.
questionable.
I'm not. I think we should wait on these other teams because I am willing
Not
to
Lev.
throw. I'm willing to throw a lot of bail. Well, they've just had a roster change.
They've had
as
a
well,
roster
haven't they?
change. I'm way more willing to throw bail to 100 Thieves. Like,
Than
they
Lev.
didn't look that bad.
Really?
They didn't look that bad. They
mean,
lost some close games. Obviously,
We
it
can't be
sucked,
putting them
but,
in
like,
this tier. This is
I
our like
loved
second
what they
tier.
were doing. Yes,
No, you're
they
insane.
will be.
I think we've got to put them in like maximum the third group that we're talking about.
Okay, well, 21 is the third.
Can
group.
I just say, to thin it out, it would be easier to just do the bottom 10 and, like, thin out some of the options.
Well,
Do
we've
that
already
now.
started this now, though. Wait
Yeah, I
there,
know,
wait
but
there,
I'm
wait
saying-
there.
I'm saying it's easier to just get rid of the bottom 10, have our settled the bottom, like,
Let's
bottom row.
fix these in place first, and then we'll do what you're
Okay.
talking
Okay.
about. I agree with you. First of all,
All
can we
right.
get rid of? Let's leave secret there for now. Fuck it. All right,
Yeah, it
yeah,
doesn't
get rid of
matter.
100 Thieves. Let's try to sort these teams out to some degree.
Okay.
Is there any team that you think should overtake Trace or Sentinels? Because they didn't play very well. In fact, they played quite poorly. Is there an argument that if you think like a Gen.G had been there, or a Foot, or
I
a
would
Heretics
argue
or something?
for a Foot Gen.G, and like I'm okay if someone wants to argue for Heretics, but
I would
I'm
say
not the one doing
MIBR
it.
also in that tier.
You think? But do you really think that MIBR would have performed better than Sentinels?
No, I'm saying above Trace. I think they would have performed better than Trace.
Oh,
Don't get Trace off there, Kirk.
No,
Jesus,
no,
have some
they're not
Where
sense.
am I
that.
supposed to move
Yeah.
them?
yeah, it's
No,
all right.
he's
He's
just
got to
holding
put
them
them back
there.
in.
Yeah, they're
afterwards.
just floating. Yeah.
I really think that we're being a bit cruel to Trace, considering
Yeah,
how
I do
like,
as
well they
well.
played at kickoff.
My personal take is that Gen.G are the one that you could argue would have been better. I think, given how Heretics
And
bombed
both?
out, given how, Foot lost there, didn't even make it as the top 3. MIBR, I agree, wouldn't have done better than. I think MIBR, maybe they would have done a bit better than Trace, because Trace, but we know that Trace trolled when they were there. So, like, overall, Trace showed more than MIBR during their kickoff.
I think
I
Gen.G
would
is
say
the
Trace-
easiest nod to sell. They almost
Yeah.
beat T1 in their region. They looked good against other teams like Talon, like DFM, that you're like, that you're trying to give some semblance of a nod here, Chobra. Like, to me, that's the easiest sell.
Okay, so let's put Trace in then at number 9th, right?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
I
okay
don't
with
think
that.
think Heretics showed enough greatness.
No.
At this point, if we were ranking Heretics super highly, it would just be based on last year,
Yes.
which is
Yeah, get Heretics down.
there's
Little
got to be some
disingenuous at this
recency
point.
bias. Yeah,
Yeah.
there has to be some. All right, so then if we have Heretics coming in, well, no, I don't think Heretics are a lock for number 10th, for 10th either, right? So
No.
No, they aren't.
then, do you think that Heretics actually look like a better team than Foot? If we're just thinking about E EMEA.
See, I think we're giving Foot the historical benefit as well, because I think in Foot's last game, they also looked particularly bad against Team Liquid. Like
I think Foot would have beaten Team Liquid or Team Heretics in their form in that lower final.
I think it's super possible.
Yeah, but I think the Plat Chat crew could have beaten Team Heretics in that form.
Yeah, but isn't that like pretty rough?
Yeah, but,
Like,
but
so
they
they shouldn't
aren't.
be a
They
top 10
aren't that
team.
really. Yeah, but like they aren't going to be that shit. There is
But
just
that's
no
all
way.
last year. That's
No,
all last
no,
year.
it's not- no, because they weren't that. Like they wouldn't have made it
Heretics-
to the top 3 had they been that shit.
That's
in the
not
first couple
true.
Games.
Heretics
That
played
is
one
fucking
good
true.
match. Heretics played one good match,
Against
and it was
Foot.
against BBL. No, not
Oh,
even.
sorry. They lost
They-
to
Yeah, they didn't even play against Foot. Foot didn't even make it to that point in the bracket. Heretics
Yeah.
already had a bye through the
Oh my
first
god,
round.
yeah, you're right.
They
Sorry.
beat Gentle Mates because they had a crazy easy side of the bracket, and that was a 2-1 game where they got clapped on Abyss. And then they beat BBL, and they actually played pretty well in that game. And then
Oh,
they
my
bombed out.
brain is. I think the glue fumes are getting to me. I got Heretics and Vitality confused for a second, and I'm
Yeah, you're sniffing.
losing it.
You're
I'm
sniffing.
losing it.
I think anybody who's rating Heretics super highly has got to be going off what they did last year.
Yeah, I don't.
So
agree.
then you-
But
so
I
then we
don't
should
think
have
the Foot
teams
were
like-
that great either. I'm
Okay.
not arguing him for 10.
So then
I
push
agree.
EMEA down then. Who's the next team? We're talking...
MIBR, I guess.
MIBR.
Are we not talking... Hongshim?
Fucking hell, there's two of them.
Dude, it's
Listen,
this
there's two of
fucking,
them.
it's this
Hold on,
fucking
hold on.
podcast that said Pacific was the worst region going
That
into
was Sliggy.
Bangkok.
That was Sliggy, man. Sliggy was so hard on the Pacific is terrible narrative. Although
And
I've
let's-
got to admit, I wasn't
Some
huge
of the
on
game,
Pacific
you
either.
were big on
I
it,
mean, nobody
TJ.
was defending it.
Remember the fucking Alamo. Remember the good fight that Pacific was terrible. Just because T1 won this event doesn't mean all these teams are
What?
top 10.
That's
Well, they're not-
nonsense.
Put Wolves in
Pacific
10.
was giga underrated going in.
Yes, I agree with you.
Oh
T1
my
fucking won.
God.
The eighth
you saying
rated
you
team
agree
from
with
this
me then,
podcast won.
Mimi?
But I'm not saying. I'm just saying like.
Mimi's saying we're overreacting.
We're overreacting. Yes, we should give more
But
credence to
MIBR
Pacific. We shouldn't
MIBR
underrate, but we
overperformed.
also shouldn't overrate.
MIBR did
MIBR
overperform.
overperformed.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, Kurt, maybe we put no one in 10 and we leave one team off the list.
No, we're not doing that. That's funny, but
I will
gotta
just
fill
go
the
ahead and
slots.
say.
But we need.
as
Wait,
the
why are
Russian
Wolves
guy-
at 47? What's this? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. A team of
Wolves in the
12
game.
players? I mean, that's fair. We should put AG in 10 because they've got 12 players.
Yeah, true. Okay, I feel
don't think
okay though
Nongshim
with
should be in
Nongshim.
10.
Okay, well,
I
who
don't
would you
think
put at
so.
10 then, Jobra?
I
There's
do think
once you
it
get outside the
should
top 10,
be
there's no like
between-
great teams.
No, but I do think it should be between like the other ones we discussed of like Foot or MIBR, etc. Just because even as the Nongshim guy, like they clearly were struggling to adapt as quickly to the highest level. So while I do think they're solidly in the like second tier of Pacific, I don't think they're like at the cusp of breaking easily into the first tier.
Oh,
Also, Chobra would be logically inconsistent if he said T1 had to be 1 because they won and then Nongshim finished like,
Fifth or
7th, 8th in their fucking region and then,
Yeah.
oh, well, they've got to be 10.
I
Okay,
really
let's put
believe
Foot there,
MIBR
then.
would.
Fine, I'm
MIBR
happy
or
with Foot.
I'm happy
for
with
the,
Foot.
for the
That's
most
great.
for the
That's
most
great.
boring
MI
team, so
yeah.
we'll agree on them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
11th
Sure.
MIBR, I'm happy with.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
That's fine. I actually
Okay.
think now we're getting to BLG range, I think.
yeah, I think
Yes.
we are. I think we are.
Are we?
But-
like,
but I think
I'm
Nongshim
still
performed better than
confused
Billy
on
Billy.
why BLG gets rated so much.
They're just winning. I can't explain it to you, but their players are just good enough
okay.
that they're winning.
It's just the result. Okay, I mean that.
It's
I-
just
They
the
also
results.
won the like best of the rest tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or,
I
sorry,
don't like.
got third place in the
What?
consolidation final. of it, but-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who got second, baby? Put them up there.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
Wolves and dude. But Wolves have a good roster. They just had a horrendous performance at kickoff. Like, but they looked awful. It wasn't
Sure.
just like they had a horrendous performance. Like 100 Thieves had a horrendous performance because they got
Here
eliminated.
he goes again.
They were awful, TMV. They were disgusting.
They were
Don't even
bad,
try.
man.
Don't even try to repair the Wolves' reputation. They played appallingly at kickoff. They were like a bottom 5 team in the entire league. Like across everything. All right,
Sure. Whatever.
Crew. We got to start talking about Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Crew would beat Billy Billy.
Wait, have we
I
just
agree.
locked Nongshim into 12?
I think so.
I'm not angry.
Seth,
Just go
wait,
with it.
I want
We'll
to
be here all day, Mimi. We'll be here all
I
day.
want
Let
to
him
hear
have
some
it.
Pacific context that is not from a Nongshim Red Force jersey. Seth,
Yeah. Get him. Get it.
Kurt, take me away. Take me away.
Achilles, where are you rating?
here?
Where are you rating Nongshim?
I'm here.
you
You
gotta
gotta imagine if
Nongshim?
he just was not there, the chair.
I think where
Do you
you,
think
have
it's-
them is fine. I think that they would beat. I think that they could. Yeah, I think they'd beat the teams currently on here.
Okay, so if we moved Crew up to 13th, right behind them.
This is a team that can
Sure.
only play fucking Neon. And earlier, Chobra said, "Rest in peace, Neon."
Yeah, but that's because Waylay's out now. He gets to bail out with
Yeah,
Waylay. He
he's
gets
gonna,
to
they're
TP
gonna
back
go
now.
crazy.
I mean,
that
he
guy
get a
red
on
card?
a high sense agent like Waylay, he's gonna go ape shit.
This
They might
team
actually.
did-
You know what? On that thought, put him in 5th.
This team played like
Never mind. Actually, no,
shit.
6. Not the I'm kidding.
This team played like shit when they didn't play a Neon comp. They only played it maybe like once, and it was bind, and it was appalling.
No,
They've
but
had
they.
a bunch of time to.
I've
prepare,
awoken
it's
his
fine.
mind. He stopped eating noodles for a minute. And
Well, because I
he's
was
back.
thinking about the previous meta, and now I'm thinking about what they're going to be doing, and I'm like,
No,
well,
they played
yeah, actually, wait
non-neon
there.
fine in last year. Obviously, not
Last
in
year,
the top
the
tier
depths of
competition,
last
but-
year.
Sure, I'm just saying.
When was the
it's
last
not
time
that
they won?
individually he can't play it. It's just it was very clear that he was way too used to playing neon. That I will concede. Like,
Chobra, I want to
100%.
give you some. I want to give you some
100%.
homework, Chobra. When was the last time they won a map not playing neon?
It should be actually at the grand final of Challengers.
Did they play
Before
a
Ascension.
non-neon map there? Oh shit!
I think so.
Did I immediately just get owned by that? I
I'm
thought they were playing neon
pretty
every
sure. Pretty
Okay,
sure,
well.
because I actually don't think he was neon spamming as much until Ascension.
night. Okay, well I've messed that one. Unlucky.
Checkmate, atheist.
Yeah,
Let's
Just
go.
put him in
No
12. I don't
shit.
care. People are gonna say, "What's this team doing in 12?" Though. Can we put them in 13? Can't you swap them with crew?
Honestly, I think it's going to be the same thing though, right? Like 12th or 13th through 16th is all going to be one group, and I think we'll have a hard time arguing specifically. But like, why though? Why is crew getting rated even
I don't
higher?
know, because they didn't
they
finish
should be way
7th,
better.
8th in their region.
They would also be
finished
better.
lower.
In,
We just have
no,
a
they would
better
also be
region.
better in the new.
Yeah, but
the,
their
the
region's
new
just
meta.
worse.
We just have a
No,
stronger
wait. I
region.
mean,
There's more
before we get
competition
Mimi back
over
in,
here.
I need the voice
so
of God.
7th, 8th over
Seth,
here. is
who's
like
better,
being
Talon or RRQ?
RQ.
When God doesn't agree with you, suddenly God disappears. Oh, and TMV has disappeared. Oh my God, I can't believe it. He's gone
Oh
atheistic.
my god, I'm right here.
All right, let's get rid of Achilles then. Let's bring back Mimi. TMV is extremely disappointed with
Seth?
With God.
Yeah.
with the omniscient
I've lost
being.
my faith. God is dead, and we have killed him.
Crew
right.
almost beat MIBR in a very close match. They looked really solid, form-based. I think Shy was looking really good. Kesnet was looking really good. And they actually had like very high-level team play throughout that I was super impressed by. I love what they showed on their bind with the Vice coming out there. And they aren't a fucking 8th place team. They deserve at least 12th. They beat Nongshim.
Honestly, you sold me. As soon as I remembered that
Oh.
we're not going to be going into a neon meta at all, I think you've sold me. But
Now
I'm
can-
fine up to 14th though. I think we've
Yeah,
solved
yeah,
it
I'm
up
happy
to
with that.
15.
I think
Yeah,
now,
no, I'm fine
well,
with
we
that.
have to start
I'm fine
asking
with
before you move RRQ, we have to start asking the
this is the
heretics
first time.
question. How
Wait,
deep
yeah,
do we want
yeah.
to drop Team Heretics?
shit,
'Cause
man,
I
too.
forgot about
Are they
I don't
worse
think
than
they're
Billy
21.
Billy?
I
Wait,
think
heretics.
Oh.
Surely they're not worse than Billy.
Yeah,
I'm
I
15
think
for
they're
now.
better.
okay.
Oh.
Wait, this does feel harsh on heretics though, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, the world is harsh, Sideshow.
lowest
We got
7th
48
teams.
teams.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you
Oh,
going to
that's
do? It's
so
a
true.
competition. You got to suck it up and win.
Is
Very
Heretics
true.
worse than the 8th Pacific team that won't have neon
That's the
anymore?
question you gotta ask. In
No,
a
I
bad
actually-
meta for them, are
I-
they worse than the 8th?
I
Pacific
really
team?
do think that Nongshim showed better stuff than heretics in kickoff.
Sure, but
But
today,
I'm not sure about Billy. That's where I'm.
Yeah, I'm
But
okay
I think we've
with
got them roughly in the
Heretics
right
above.
spot. I think we've got them roughly in the right spot. I think it's
Come on,
okay to
swap
have them
Heretics
around
and
here.
Billy then.
Yeah, swap Heretics and Billy. 3 of us think so. Maybe
Okay.
4 of us.
I'm
Yeah.
not a Billy seller. Like
All right.
I
Okay.
just
We
think
all
they need to
believe
be
that. Oh.
they need to be in this area. I don't want to like forget them and totally underrate
Sure.
China, but I don't think they.
Okay,
What about
then
BBL?
I think
They-
BBL are
Oh, the big beautiful
They're fine.
ladies.
I actually think BBL deserve to be above new Talon.
Yes,
I don't think they deserve to be above RRQ.
you can't argue that they deserve to be below a new team with 2 rookie players with a new meta. Like that's a
I just
very
think there's so
fair
many
shot for
challenges to
BBL.
Talon.
does anyone know if BBL are playing with Chiwa now?
Oh, that's actually a good.
Why?
yeah,
Do you
that's
think
a
that's
good
going to make them
question.
worse?
No, I think that'll make them better. Chiwa's good.
Better. Yeah.
Well, Vac played pretty well though as well. I'm expecting it to
She
be
was
quite a
good.
side grade, to be honest with you. You think it's going to make a
I think-
significant
Either side
difference?
grade or better. Yeah.
I think Chiwa's pretty.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I just thought Vac did
He
an
cheats at
incredibly
cards,
good job.
but
at-
he's pretty good.
He cheats at cards,
I met him. Yeah, we played for Ascend. I met him.
right? And what
he
what
cheats at
card
cards.
game were you playing?
Oh, I can't remember what it was to be honest.
Okay.
Also,
Crazy
also, I
lore.
just realized you guys are like spinning crazy narratives. Notion wasn't even 7th, 8th. They were 5th, 6th.
Look, we live in a news.
is
It's a fast
insane.
news cycle
We
now,
live in a
Joe, bro.
cruel
We- you-
world.
If you're not picking up on it straight away, then
No
you know.
wonder
At this
you guys spin just fake news all the time. This is crazy.
They still got pretty highly rated though. I mean,
no, I'm fine with where they are, but it's just anyway.
okay.
Sorry,
so
I was
let's-
thinking about your other team, RRQ, that are somehow up there as well. That
they were
finished
7th, 8th.
Yeah,
Let's have a look.
sorry.
Let's have a look at the. Let's have a look at it again. Who have we got to still place? Fnatic. Should we be having discussions about Fnatic around here somewhere?
See, the thing with Fnatic is, the easiest way to do this is ask the question: do you think that Fnatic are better than BBL?
Dude, Fnatic's actually so tough because their legacy is so deep that it's hard to ignore that. And then like even the players they brought in, like Crashies has a legacy too. But also it's just they didn't look bad, but like that's the best thing we can say about them. They didn't look terrible. And
I don't think they looked as good as BBL, actually.
No, I don't think so. I agree with that.
I don't think they looked as good as Loud, actually. I think we should be.
Yeah, I think
we
Loud
need to
should be. Yeah.
It's time for our girl TMV.
Well, I think Loud. There is arguments that Loud could get up to like a 15 position, like anywhere between 15 to 20. I think would be.
But if that's
for Loud.
true, what about Paper Rex though? Like I know they were a disappointment and they crashed out, but surely they don't get forgotten below that. Below that range.
What did Paper X achieve? Run me through their kickoff, please.
Okay, I'll run you through it, shall I? Paper X, they get a bye through the first round. They lose to T1.
Okay, the best team in the world.
Best team in the world.
Best team in the world.
At the time, not the best team in the world, but it wasn't a bad performance from Paper
in the
X.
world.
Sure.
They get knocked to the lower bracket and they play against Zeta Division.
The best team in the world.
Easy, and they destroy them.
They do destroy Zeta Division, 13-5, 13-8. And then
we'll be ranking them high.
Then they get fucking owned by DFM.
They got 13-1 by Detonation. Focus me.
Yeah,
and they get eliminated in 7th, 8th.
That's correct. No.
Why did they do this, man? I can't fight for it.
Chobra when presented with facts.
Like you can't have them in this group in the top 20. I don't think they might make it into the top. No, I don't think so. I don't think they can be a top 20.
Let me turn the coin a little bit here and run you through what Loud was up to. They start off. They get 2 games against EG and Crew. They kind of own both of them. It's a close match against EG, but they win both of them 2-0, and they look really good. They're playing Breach Teo. They're looking pretty on meta with stuff. A lot of the individual players are popping. Dujazin looks like the absolute GOAT. His defensive side opping is on point, and like Pancata looks back. Everything is pretty positive for this team. They face Sentinels. They win a close map. They lose and then they lose 2 close maps, and they fall in that series to one of the teams that we have, all the way up in our top 8 that look pretty good. They made it all the way to Masters, and then they play Crew, who were rating as well. They kind of get owned on bind, but as I was glazing, like Crew has a very, very good bind. It's their best map. They're super strong there, and then they lose Haven by 2 rounds. If they didn't lose that Haven by 2 rounds, there's a world where Loud wins that match, where they go on to have a competitive game against MIBR. Like, players were informed. They weren't playing like the Yoru stuff. They weren't cutting edge, but they were leaning into the Breach Teo. They had some really nice set plays. Like,
this is a lot of yapping, maybe, to move a team up 2 spots.
Yeah, and they should be moved up 2 spots.
I don't think they looked as good as BBL.
Sure, I'll give you that.
I think that's...
But they're better than fucking Paper X.
Yeah, but
I'm happy with where they are.
What about Fnatic? Are they better than Fnatic?
I actually think they looked in better form than Fnatic.
Honestly,
I agree.
I don't think the game ideas were maybe as good as Fnatic, but like Fnatic play a very like by the books. We really... always fall off and play post-blind. Like they're not.
Are we really going to settle with Talon below BBL?
Talon made 2 roster changes.
Bro,
come on,
we're gonna
man.
end up. You can't look at the bottom of the board.
Okay.
See how there's only 4 Pacific teams left. Look at this. We've gone too far the other way.
I was gonna call Achilles then, but I know he won't defend Talon, so we'll just move on.
So Wolves, Paper X, I think just put them back down the bottom, and let's do the bottom 10.
Okay.
Well, it was your idea, wasn't it?
Yeah. But when you say put them at the bottom, I think you mean put them in the bottom.
Put them in the to be sorted area.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's grab some stinkers.
Well, let's get Secret out of there first, because I'm not starting.
They're not. Yeah.
But let's get some absolute.
But God said
2G. Get 2G at the bottom.
Oh, 2G. Lock them in at number 48, honestly.
Yep.
No, wait, would 2G beat all gamers?
Mate, remember.
No, it was...
Remember 2G.
They
played so scared, they could not beat anyone playing that scared. They lost multiple maps by, like, most of their maps, like 13-3,
no, that's
13-2. No, they weren't even winning rounds.
No, that's reasonable. That is super reasonable.
They were horrendous.
I think AG, let's throw some teams up there now. AG and Tech have got to be up there.
Wait, really quick.
There.
Like we were talking about how Trace won 22 rounds. It tied for the worst global performance ever. 2G won 17.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
incredible. Ty Glue.
Apex.
Apex. Yeah.
Lupex.
Ty Glue.
Can we get
Boy.
Gloria?
Koi. Yes.
Goy.
Gluria.
Gloria.
Boy. Yep. Yep.
Zeta. How's Zeta?
Zeta. Zeta.
Yeah,
Yep.
Zeta.
At 100% Zeta is in that
Paper
group.
X.
No, they. No, that's.
No, we can't. We can't be putting them there.
No,
We
I
can't
think
be
that's.
putting them
I
there.
think this is the bottom tier.
Yeah, these are the bottom teams.
I'm not even sure DRG. I mean, I know the.
Wait, no,
the-
DRG don't belong
JDG?
there.
Yeah,
You just-
DRG don't belong there, but what about JDG? Does JDG belong there?
I don't think so. I think
Okay,
they're
just
I think
above,
they're
just above.
Put them at
Okay.
40. Get Zeta down
All right.
at 43.
I think Ty Glue played worse than Tech, even though Tech ended up doing worse than them. I can't remember who Ty Lue actually beat. Let me. Ty Lue.
It is tough when you get down.
Ty Lue
Oh no,
got.
they just went 0-2.
Yeah.
They just went
Yeah.
0-2.
No, they got yeah.
Yeah, get Ty Glue down there.
So why did they
Above
oh,
AG?
right, yeah.
No, AG. No.
No,
AG have to have 12 players.
AG
Put
have
in
got to be in
47.
the. Yeah.
Put them in 47. They're lucky that 2G exists.
But then I would say I think Apex might have played a
Yeah,
bit better than Tech,
I
but
agree.
really that is just all floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Floor
but
deserves
it's- but-
44th.
yeah, but
You know,
Floor's
at
on that
least.
team.
At least.
Yeah,
Come
at
on.
least.
We have to give her that credence. Like,
That's crazy.
I'm fine.
The
Uh,
with
day
uh,
after
Glo-
the day after
Gloria-
International Women's Day, and you'd be saying stuff like "Floor deserves
no,
44."
I'm saying she doesn't deserve lower. That's
Right.
the minimum.
I think Apex are above Gloria, to be honest. I do.
Yeah,
They at least
I
won a
think they
Gloria-
map.
might be even above Zeta, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think
they won a
Zeta's-
map, Apex, don't forget.
Yeah.
And they were playing with a coach for some of
Gloria
it.
was
They had to sub him.
atrocious in that EG game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were.
They were
bad.
just, yeah.
But 2G...
I don't know enough about the Chinese teams
Furia
to know
won
if
a
they
game.
should go lower, but I feel
Furia
like
won a game.
Gloria won a game.
against
Yeah,
2G.
against 2G.
Oh, that doesn't. That doesn't.
Was that a
count.
game?
The
That
doesn't
Ascension
count.
roster.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was in their roster.
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Oh my god, that's
This is why
just so
context
deep.
matters.
That's so funny.
Okay, so Gloria without Stellar is 0-4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they worse than the other
Tech?
Chinese teams? I don't know enough about the Chinese teams
they-
to say.
Tech
Tech
looked
might get above.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tech might get above. Yeah, Furia. I would say so.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
swap.
break up the triple Chinese teams so people think we know more than we do. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
100%.
It's gonna look real good.
How
on
do
the
you feel
screenshot.
about Zeta Chobra? Like,
Honestly,
Are
the
they-
thing about
are they
Zeta
good?
is that they're not actually that terrible. They're just zero. I just have zero hype or hope or interest in them right now, man. Like, I am actually literally the least interested, which is so sad. But I think they're
Yeah.
fine where they are because of that. It's like they might do better. Like, I don't think their actual mechanical skill is that bad. It's just, I just don't see them punching above. You know what I mean? Like, they're just gonna hang out.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay, are we happy with this rank? Because I'm
kind of
fairly
happy
happy
with, that, to be
with
honest.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually fine with this bottom line.
Okay, so we are Wolves.
What do you mean?
How
Wolves?
have Wolves
What
dodged
do you-
being invited?
Wolves
here?
finished. They finished second in that fucking other tournament they played.
Okay, but
yeah, in the tournament of the worst of the worst. Like, what?
What
Hold
do you mean
on.
worst of the
They
worst?
finished
There was
third.
10 other teams. There was 10 Chinese teams. Apart from they did better than Billy. We've got a fucking 15th or whatever.
okay, but then if you had only taken kickoff into account, you would have to put Wolves probably 45th.
But we're not. We're not.
46th?
Only
no, we
they
should-
played another
Yeah.
tournament, Josh.
no, I'm fine
Okay,
with
so
that.
how
I'm
much
fine
does
with
that
that.
bring them up, though?
A
In the
lot.
30s.
Probably
In the
like
30s.
the 3 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they made third
best
place. That makes sense.
Yeah. Put
In China.
Nova 2 because they beat Wolves. And
No,
Wolves 3.
silly.
I don't know. Somewhere in this middle. Yeah, maybe like 30.
Mid-
I don't know.
30s.
But
They're
not,
in their
they're
30s.
not down there.
Okay,
Mid to low, or
high
mid to
20s,
high 30s.
high 20s, low
What?
30s.
No, they can't break the 30 line. There's no way.
Do you
That's
think
fine.
so? When they played and they got second in China, maybe that's somewhere around the like 15th best result. somewhere around that region.
So you average it out.
So then somewhere between 45
but-
and 15 would be exactly 30.
Yeah, but can we just look at the context there too? The only one that they really
this
beat
guy.
that would have mattered would have been
This
DRG. They beat Tech and JDG.
Can I sub Chobra for Brian Sentinel?
Wait, did they actually? Is that how they went on
Yeah.
that run?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wait, dude, this guy is selling the Wolves stocks off the back of winning against Heck and fucking
JDG.
JDG?
And DRG.
They beat DRG.
Right, so they
respect
beat
it.
DRG in
I
a 2-1
respect it,
game.
but to be fair,
Yeah.
JDG also beat XOG, and I rate
like,
them quite highly.
No, right,
but
right. This is
Nah,
a fucking
man.
unbelievable
Nah.
narrative. This is an unbelievable narrative. Oh, let's punish this team for beating other teams. Oh,
Let's punish them for only beating bad teams and playing
And
horribly
DRG,
at
I know
kickoff.
you think they're too high in mid-F, but that's just not true. They almost went to fucking Bangkok.
I
They
agree.
finished third.
Good win
I
against
just don't
DRG.
think they should get that high. It's the same thing with what we mean.
30 isn't high! Fucking get Nongshim off this list. Get him off.
All right, where do we go from here?
When Wolves played
Oh,
against
here he goes. Look at
when
him.
Wolves played against DRG, Vukashu wasn't even playing.
Yeah, Aura diff. They they sent him
You
home.
mean to say that fucking Wolves Aura, the fear of a dog in the wild, made them remove Akashi? What are you talking about?
So they didn't actually beat DRG. They beat DRG playing with a sub, and they beat Tech and JDG. Fraud ass team! Fraud ass Wolves Esports. They are not 30th. There's no fucking shot, man. There's no shot. They got to be like max 35. I mean, I
I'm fine
wouldn't
with-
dare
yeah.
push them higher than that.
Like mid 30s
Put them in
somewhere.
the
This is
second to
unbelievable.
bottom row. 33. A nice round number.
What?
That's too high already. I've got to be honest
You're
with you.
trolling.
Well, hold
You're
on.
trolling. Get Kami
do the
Core
other
in
teams.
39.
Let's do the other teams.
Fuck
and we'll
off.
see.
Right, yeah, let's do some of the other teams. KC are a good team. They nearly beat Vitality, who we've got in 4.
Oh, KC. Oh, we went out in the fucking lowest straight away.
They are a good team. All right, let's go
They
from
are,
the bottom.
they are going to cook with the new meta stuff.
Let's
I
go
swear
from
to
the
God,
bottom.
Sidon.
I swear to God. Oh, trust me, guys. Trust me, bro.
All right,
Yes.
who are
The
some other
history
crappy
supports
teams?
it.
Who are some other crappy teams? We've got
Kami Core.
we've got to start talking about mates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mates.
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 Secret. Oh, Secret should be pretty far down there. What the?
Secret
I mean,
should be
EG
in
are
this
not
range, yeah.
that bad.
I'm gonna be honest
no,
with you.
this is cope. EG are that bad.
Yeah,
EG
EG
put
were.
EG down there.
Like
Yeah,
I wanted them to be
EG.
better, but they just weren't.
We-
Yeah.
we
They're
also
better
shouldn't-
than Wolves. EG would beat
no,
Wolves.
we're just saying this range. This range.
Sure.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
And you sound like a fucking hostage negotiator. You're walking me back from the cliff.
As good as I still think we should put Boom relatively high in this group.
In this group, yep, I'm fine with that.
Okay. I think also we need to be looking at DFM here. I think we need to be looking at Global here as well.
Yeah.
And I think we also need to be looking at PaperX here.
Yes.
Paper X here, bro.
Hold on. Before
Yes.
before we
Bro.
even
They're
get
in this
started,
group.
bring in Seth. I need a bathroom break anyway, so sub him in for me.
But I gotta say, like, if we're discussing DFM, you also have to be discussing PaperX. You can't be giving them a
back.
pass based on what they did last year.
No, but I would put DFM higher than this group. I'd put DFM in the next group.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah, DFM should be above this.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Let's
Not
put
that
DFM
high.
in the.
Not that
No,
high,
no, no,
but
no,
yeah,
no,
above
no.
this group.
All right, but
for
just
now,
put
it's
them in there for
okay.
now.
Okay.
Just put them in there for now. That's fine.
Yeah, and then just leave it there forever. Anyway, DFM,
DRG
yeah,
maybe should
pretty
be in
good.
this group as well.
DRG
Yeah.
probably somewhere in the
I think
range
you're
I
around.
don't know, maybe
like
in the
DFM?
higher group actually. Maybe
Yeah,
in the higher
DRG
group.
should be in the high
Yeah,
group.
DRG should be around the
finished
DFM.
fourth.
Okay,
Right?
sorry.
Interesting.
Let's put FPX though in this group because old FPX we would have had in the higher
Yeah.
group, but without Berlin and with like Autumn IGLing and stuff. Like,
Towards
you
the
can't
higher end
be-
of this
Okay.
group, but yeah.
Yeah, higher end
Hold
of this
on.
group.
Surely Sheila Gaming is like pretty
should
low
probably-
down.
No, get the fuck out of here. Sheila Gaming is popping. Like they're
You're right. Hold on. You said to me, "Oh, Wolves, they're only beating JDG." Go and look at G-Li's last result. Go and look at the last game that G-Li Gaming played.
I don't give
You
a
won't
shit.
like the look of it.
I don't give a
You
shit.
won't like it.
I don't give 10
You won't like
tosses.
it.
They have excellent ideas. They don't have
Oh,
the
what's
best players.
this?
Their pistol round strategies
JD
are
Mall,
good.
JDG Sports, so good they named them twice.
In
They
an
lost to
OG.
JDG.
I mean, and Lotus, which is a fraudulent map anyway.
What
That's
do you
not a
mean
real
it's
map.
a fraudulent map, Josh? Okay, let's review the
XLG
record.
looked good
Let's
at kickoff.
review the record. I know a lot of teams had things that we liked, but we can't have everything we want. They beat All Gamers 2-1. They beat JD.
AG 2-1. 2-1.
They lost to EDG. Let's give some credence.
Why
They
did you take a
lost.
map off
Wait,
EDG?
they won a map off EDG, but Josh, check what map they got off EDG. Fraudulent fucking Lotus.
No, that's a
They
good
lost
map,
13-0.
actually.
Look at the third result.
Of course they lost 13-0. That was when EDG were pounding Chinese teams 13-0.
Yes,
There's
but
nothing that can be
remember,
done.
halfway through this on bind, EDG went, hold on a second. We can use our hands to play this game.
Okay, so a different way of framing that is XLG almost beat EDG in elimination.
Who were playing with no hands.
No. XLG deserved
They
to
glued
be.
their hands to their laps. They were just banging their head against the keyboard.
None of that matters when they lose to JDG in the fucking Evo tournament.
The Evo tournament, Schmevo tournament.
What are their
Mimi.
good ideas? They're playing the most
no,
boring
no.
biz comp I've ever seen. They're
I
playing.
swear to God, if you
fucking
actually
Silva.
watch the games and you look at their like setups and
I
their
don't have
ideas and their
time to
attack
watch
sides,
She-Like Gaming.
they're good. they're one of the teams that has bad players but good ideas. I swear to you, I promise.
Yeah, that's fine. But why are you arguing
just-
so heavy for this
I'm not
team?
arguing so heavy. I'm just saying they should be in the group that's like the 20 to 30 instead of the 30 to 40.
God.
Ugh.
Put them in
You think
31.
so your whole point is that they should be in 20 to 30?
Yeah,
You're
they
fine.
should be.
Okay,
Put them in
wait,
31.
wait,
I don't
wait.
give a shit. Put them 31 now.
You
I-
said
Lock
they
them
have
in.
bad players. Paper
I
Rex
don't
has
agree.
good players. Swap those.
And
two.
terrible ideas.
Yes.
I would put Paper X, I would put GE above Gli. I would
Oh
maybe
my
put
God.
Boom above
Oh,
them.
get the fuck out of here.
Interesting. All the ones you're talking about have a little blue outline on them. How strange.
I'm just saying, I've never heard of this team, so clearly they're shit. So
Okay. We need to deal
Yeah,
with
go
the
back,
order
yeah.
of some of the stuff from 39.
I'd put
to
mates
31.
above secret personally.
yeah,
Mates
Secret's
should
way
not
too
be the
high.
bottom of this group. There's no way Mates should be the bottom of this group. We actually
Yeah.
thought
In
at
front
one
of
point that
Secret.
they were going to be able to beat Fnatic. They didn't. They
Yeah.
ended up getting bounced by them, but
Put them
Um,
above secret. Put them above EG. Put them above Boom.
yeah.
Put them
Put them
above.
above Wolves.
No.
Yes, put them above Wolves. General Mates should be towards the top of this group.
Put
Wait,
them
where are
above
we moving? Who are we
FPX
moving?
with a
Mates-
IGN doesn't speak Mandarin.
Mates to like
Mates to-
34.
Yeah,
and then
Mates to
slide
34,
everyone
something
down
like
one.
that. And then, who is the worst though of this group? Let's start there.
See, it's secret. Like if we're
Yep.
just basing it off what we've seen, secret were pretty bad.
I'm
Yeah,
contractually
And
obligated to
Achilles
say
is here,
yes.
so he's definitely going to agree with you.
Is-
But I think even Chobra, who we can hear but the audience can't. Chobra, do you agree?
He said yes.
We can swap him back in.
There you go.
He said,
yes.
unfortunately, yes.
There you go. So yeah, secret.
All right, Seth, give
Yes.
me some more input, and then we'll get Chobra back in here. Where
What would you like input on?
the input that I would like is, where would you put Boom in this group? Because I'm thinking Boom should be coming up sometime soon, around 38, 37, 36.
I mean, I feel like TMV would not have it, but I feel like Boom had a good amount of promise, and Wolves looked fucking tragic in kickoff.
Agreed.
So I
They
would
weren't-
put.
Oh my God, Chobra's
I-
baiting. He's rage baiting, and the audience can't hear, and I'm getting annoyed.
I would put Boom at the top of this segment. Towards the top of this segment. Maybe not as high as Gentle Mates.
Wait,
Maybe
but
that's-
over
you know,
G?
maybe
This episode might be the first time in history that this podcast has been Pacific biased. That's never happened before.
we finally got two of us on here again. It's been a
Well,
while.
get him out. Get him out. I can only
Yeah,
handle
get
one at a
Chobra
time.
back in.
Get Chobra back in. Maybe he'll be more reasonable. Maybe he'll be more reasonable.
Now I do have to say, apart from the wolf,
Love that picture.
apart
I
from the
don't
wolves
understand
thing,
why that's still my picture. Anyway,
apart from the wolves thing, I kind of agree. Boom were
No,
pretty
but
good.
I
They
don't
were pretty
think
good.
I don't think Boom were better than Global or Paper X, were they?
No, they weren't better than global. No, I'm saying that they're in a good spot now. I think 35.
Yeah.
I'd put them
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Apart from I'd put wolves higher than them.
Yeah, but then who gets the 38th spot? Because I don't
GG,
think
and
FPX
FPX
deserve
go to
that.
37.
All right, so we move them all down.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right. I'm perfectly happy with that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. No, sorry. FPX, we would put them
No,
further
put
up,
them-
wouldn't we?
No.
No, I'm fine with FPX 37.
They've got an
just
IGL who can't speak the language.
Yeah, but they.
I think
but,
that's.
but prior to
man.
making these roster moves,
So
Tim
telling
was
us this
saying his
Mandarin is
Mandarin's-
better. Yeah.
Yeah,
How
so-
good is it? As a
talked to him
fluent
before and he
Mandarin
said-
speaker yourself said.
Yeah. Kurt, you need to settle this dispute. How good is his Mandarin? You must have spoke to him in Mandarin.
Autumn? Are we talking about Autumn?
Yeah.
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 It's very good. Like
Really?
That's
even
Wow,
like
okay.
even his accent. Like if you just heard him on the phone or something,
Oh, okay.
you have no idea he was Australian.
When you speak Mandarin, Kurt, what kind of regional Chinese accent do you go for?
I have northeast United States accent when I speak Mandarin Chinese.
The classic Buffalo
upstate New
Mandarin
York.
accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very distinct, very distinct. And
okay. Let's bring
me
up the.
how go Bills.
I think FPX above Wolves is fine.
Jesus Christ.
I think.
If
Yeah, I
they had
think
a
they-
straight up fragging battle, you think FPX would just straight lose? I don't think so.
I do think that would be good for Wolves to have a straight up fragging battle.
Well, I think
against them.
I think that would be the best case scenario for Wolves, but
Yeah, and they got an IGL who can't speak.
So wait,
Yeah, that is
the argument is
concerning.
between FPX and Wolves for 36.
yes.
1 second. I speak to the glue teams.
Oh my.
Shouldn't do that.
Yeah, we can't possibly be letting this go out on stream.
Sub her out.
FPX.
FPX. They're
Fucking
above.
hell.
Okay.
FPX is
The
above
glue
Wolves.
has spoken.
FPX
But
is
would
above
the glue
Wolves.
tell you who has more glue? Surely.
No.
If
No,
if
no,
you've
no,
got
no,
FPX in
stop
your
trying to
mind-
twist it.
No.
Stop
FPX
trying to twist it.
over Wolves.
I think
All right.
we should. I think we've actually forgotten some teams here though, because once we start getting into Mates, Global, XLG, PaperX, I think we actually need to be
Giants.
making some room for Giants
Cloud9.
and Navi.
Navi, yeah.
Oh, Navi.
Yeah, and maybe
What about-
Cloud9 as well. Actually, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Cloud9 and yeah.
So let's start from the top then, right? So we'll go back and we'll fix this in a bit. But like starting from 20, DFM and DRG are not 21, 22.
Wait,
Like, we have to be looking at.
Yeah, why
No,
is
they're coming down a little bit.
They're coming down a long way.
21. For
Who's
me,
21?
Out of those teams,
Yeah,
I
put
think
up your
it's
candidates.
probably be.
Now, I believe in KC, 100 Thieves, and NRG to rebound. I believe in all three of those teams to rebound for stage 1.
But you don't believe in Paper Rex to rebound?
Maybe
No, I
KC.
fucking don't. No, I don't.
Dude, 100
But
Thieves haven't. Oh
I'd
my.
put-
But I think Leviathan actually did, like, they performed. Who did Lev win again?
I think you have to put NRG above 100 Thieves because they did beat them.
No, you
True.
you don't
Well,
have to.
But they also made.
They beat them with bad vibes. I would actually put
changes
NRG 21 above Karming Core.
Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that.
What?
Really?
Really?
I
Yeah.
think that's.
Josh,
think
remember,
that's on
think back to what
KC.
you were selling. Turn your attention away from
Well, where would
Les
you rank
Français
Giants, Josh?
and think about
I've got
what
bad
you were
news for you.
telling us.
Karming Core lost to that team.
I know they did. It was. It
Well,
was
there you go. So where are you
But-
ranking them?
But again, KC, they had an incredibly
Close,
good
yeah.
game against Vitality, and then their average was actually not like. I think they only played 2 more games, didn't they, or 3 more games?
Yeah,
And their average was not that great. You're right. Their average was not that great. Their average was probably slightly higher than Giants, even though they lost to them though because of that
Yeah, yeah,
Vitality
I'm with you.
performance.
But like, you can't say that they're better than NRG. Because...
Well, NRG were also quite
But
bad.
you
Like
can
at
say
this
whatever
point,
you want.
at this point, we're talking
they-
about some kind of crap teams. Like we're talking about some teams that
Mimi, free speech has
underperform.
been limited here in Europe. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Well, it's going to be limited here in America too. But
I think if we're ranking energy high, it simply has to be because we also believe that this change is gonna absolutely
Yeah.
be for the better, right? Like,
Which
it's
I think
just-
it will. I
Which
I'm
I
fine
really
with that.
do.
I'm
believe
fine
it
with
will.
that argument. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'm happy with that group of 3 being next. Personally,
Really, I
Like,
think KC's
like-
still being rated with a lot of hopium in that group.
it is. But I think you have to admit it's kind of hope for NRG
Chobra,
too.
you
this is
could
like
call
the
a friend
hope
and get
zone.
rid of Sideshow, and maybe you can move
Actually,
him down.
you're right. Can we get Seth? Because I can't believe we're hoping on Karming Corp and not hoping on Paper Rex.
Okay, Seth.
As he goes down the fucking trap door. Yes, sorry,
Yeah,
I
isn't
wasn't.
this
I was looking at my
ridiculous?
phone trying to
No.
see if Mimi could actually get high off of her Elmer's glue. What's the discussion?
No, the Carmine Court is being rated highly with Hopium, and Paper X isn't.
Oh,
But Paper X is hopeless.
Where are you on Paper X, Seth?
Where are you
Show
on
me the
Paper
rankings.
X?
Yeah,
Where
pretty
do we
low.
have him at the moment? 31. And then they're trying to put Carmine at 22nd.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't
Would
tell
you
me I
put
called you
DFM
wrong,
above
friend.
Paper X, Seth?
given how Paper X usually performs, we probably should just put them in 48th and they'll actually win a fucking trophy. It's probably the best strategy.
That's not what we're to do.
That's just how this works. I can't help it.
Oh
Got a
no,
point.
no,
Oh
that's
my
not
gosh.
permitted, Seth.
I didn't invent this system.
That's not
I
permitted.
did
If
invent this
2G
system.
win
I'm
a
God,
trophy,
so
we
it's
have
just the way
really
it
got
is.
a power here that we need to be careful with using. Because if 2G end up winning Toronto, something has gone
Oh my
terribly wrong.
god, it's legally
Um,
possible.
No, I would put Paper X higher than you had them previously. I wouldn't rate them as a 31st team. I think that Paper X would beat the piss out of like DRG and probably even like 100 Thieves, but
Not
based on
100
their-
Thieves is not bad.
on
They
their
played
I know
close
that I
games.
know.
They
I know.
played
but
close
Paper
games
X
against
isn't
really
bad.
good teams.
I think Paper X, like they got fucking demolished by DFM, but DFM had a really fucking good day and Paper X had a fucking like tragic performance.
And DFM straight up said that they had simply just prepped to beat Paper X. That was like their goal for kickoff, was that if we meet them, like we're prepped for 'em. And then
Bro,
they just
if
got crushed by
that's a
Gen.G
quote from
afterwards.
DFM, put them down the list. If they're like, all of our prep just went to beating Paper X, we weren't trying to make Bangkok. We didn't really give a shit. We just wanted to beat Paper X 13-1. We just wanted one result. And that's all we gave a shit about. We're lucky that T1 beat them, because otherwise we never would have played them and we would have
I would have Paper X in the top 25.
All right, great. Thank you.
Get him out of here. Let's get
We're
the
good. We're good.
alternative argument.
Sure.
All right,
all right.
settle with that. I'll settle with that.
Thank you,
Allez, les
Seth.
bleus, whatever the fuck.
Great pronunciation. That was perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
Our
Hello, Jay
glorious
Wilkes.
leader is back.
What is the color?
Oh, God.
Blue, blue.
What is the color? Yeah, I mean,
He
I
didn't
think
move
that,
Carmine Core.
yeah, the Paper X
Yeah.
argument though is just so based on like the hope. But you know what? I'll give the Pacific fans their hope. I think that's fine. We need to be thinking about Leviathan here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My issue
I
with Leviathan is, even though they
There's a
actually
nice
finished
little
ahead of a
24
lot of
spot
these,
for them.
we could, yeah. They actually didn't look that great, and
No.
the only team they beat was Furia, who we've
Yeah.
got in 45th right now.
I'm actually more comfortable with Giant X being in 24 over Lev.
I think they're somewhat similar. I think they're
What if
around
there's
the
an
same
argument
kind
for
of area.
Cloud9?
I think they would both beat Paper X, I'll tell you that.
Confidently?
Not confidently, no. But if they play,
Okay.
if Paper X played like they did in kickoff, I think. They
I
would.
mean, oh, sure.
I think there's a nice little 31 that Navi are calling towards.
Wait, so you're putting both of them above Paper X? That's crazy.
I mean, is it crazy
I'd
when we
swap
just moved
DFM
Paper
and
X up from
Cloud9,
30th? What have we got here that's smoking?
I
There's
think
gotta be some
DRG is
bonkers
too
stuff.
high.
Ah, the classic DRG are overrated narrative
no,
comes back.
Ah, you've tried that one.
No, it's not that they're overrated. Yeah, I think DFM over DRG, just because if you're going to rely on just one guy anyway, you might as well rely on the guy that can speak with the rest of the team comfortably.
Yeah, that's
In
true.
May,
People
over
say, I
Vukashu.
just saw a comment,
Yeah.
how is Nova 27th? No, well, Nova, if you go on Nova's results, Kurt, this is so funny. They dropped a map in this little tournament. They dropped a map to Trace's, sub team, and then flawlessly ran through the rest of the tournament against actual teams.
But
which
who
is
did
quite-
they beat? So I didn't follow this tournament,
I didn't
and
think
it
so.
seems like a lot of teams were
No,
not
they
taking
beat
it
the-
as seriously.
Sure.
Because
True.
DRG weren't playing with their full roster.
But you look at those results, and that is a
But
that is a
no. But they
stomping
didn't
run.
play against real Trace. So Trace were not
Yeah, I
playing
know.
with their real roster.
But that's the
either.
only map that they lost was to non-real Trace, and then
Which
they
is why it's
stomped
funny.
the other teams.
Right.
The other
I mean,
actual
FPX and Billy and Wolves were all really trying in this tournament. Yeah, and those are like decent.
And they
Chinese
played
teams.
well. Yeah, I mean, they played pretty well in kickoff too. I would say in terms of content.
Okay, so let's go back to where we rated them though, because they could still be overrated.
I
think,
fine with it.
yeah,
We're only
it's-
27. Not even that
it's-
high.
It's possible just because for these Chinese teams, we've literally never seen them like even come close to playing against a team from another region, so we just have no standard there. But I think Nova like has continued to improve on their promise, like time and time again. And let me tell you, I know what it's like to watch a team continue to improve on their promise and potential time and time again, and they'll eventually get there. They'll eventually get there. So I think Nova's fine where they are.
GE
Oh,
to
Swap.
30th.
Seth wants GE to 30th.
I'm
I'm actually okay with that.
Are Cloud9 that bad? I'm trying to remember. I'm struggling to remember what they
aren't that bad.
showed.
I don't think GE are that bad. I think is the
Yeah,
thing. And if
I could
Patrick
definitely
Hu's
see
coming back-
G. I think put him 31, Kurt. I think move 2 down.
Sure.
Put global up. I still
Zephyr,
think actually
if you-
the biggest horrific part of this list is somehow my team is getting destroyed whilst Chobra's team somehow is sitting at fucking 14 or whatever. That's
well, maybe
the
your
criminal.
team should just play in a better region. You know, I'm just saying.
13. Fucking hell! Look at this list, man. It reads pretty well, and then you get to 13. It's like fucking hell.
I would say once you get outside the top 10, there's no good teams in Valorant. It's like, honestly, all of our discussions once we got outside the top 10 were like, well, that team's shit. They can't be in that position. And then
Well,
we
that's
were
true.
like, no, that team's even more shit.
Well, yeah. This was the thing. I mean, because as soon as you said, "Oh, would we swap Sen and Trace for any other team?" and we were all just silent for a couple seconds,
The
considering
thing
that
is,
Sen
though-
and Trace just played horribly.
Yeah.
The team that wins champions will be in the like 20 to 48 range. Not 20 to
Possible.
47 range.
20
Because
to
Valorant is
47.
random and anything can happen.
Wow, that's harsh on 2G. You think that all glue could actually go and do it, but not 2G.
I mean, it's a reasonable take though, because if you look at 20 to 26, every single roster.
It's-
No,
yeah.
wait, not every single one, but there's like a bunch of rosters there: Fnatic, NRG, 100 Thieves, Lev, Paper.
Well, that's the naughty
like-
corner of this list.
It is, yeah.
You can
Yeah.
be better, but you prove it.
Yeah.
19 to 26, one of those teams will be like top 3 in the world.
I think it's totally possible. I think
Yeah,
the
very
mid range,
possible.
like Pacific, is very crunched in the mid range, but also just worldwide, like we've really
this list
upgraded on
itself.
average.
I also
I
think
want
if-
to ask then, out of this list, from someone who is rated 20 or below right now, who is like yearbook end of year most likely to jump up, make globals, and like be super impressive? My
Like,
nod
make a
would
deep
be
run at
like
champs?
NRG, for example. I think they have like, I mean, we were talking about it earlier, but I think they have huge bounce back potential. I like the Mike signing. I think like they're not going to be as bad as they were.
Like they'll prove themselves even if they don't
Ye-
win a trophy. You mean? Like jump up?
I'm not saying trophy winning, but like
Sure.
make a deep run at champs kind of vibe.
I mean,
Mm.
I would say this somewhat hinges on, like, if you're counting Fnatic in that, if Leo ever comes back, then that's an obvious.
Well, let's assume he's not just
if he
'cause we have no
doesn't come
idea,
back,
yeah.
I still think Fnatic, I would still put towards the top of that list.
Okay.
Even without Leo. But definitely, I mean, with Leo, it wouldn't even be a question. You
I think
wanna
Paper
say
X can do
Karmine Core,
it.
don't you?
This is a good
No,
podcast.
I don't want to say Carmen Corp. I'm thinking, I'm taking a look, and I know you're gonna fucking smoke my ass for this, but I'm thinking XLG are actually gonna at some point
Actually,
they're going-
I'm
okay.
with you on that.
they're gonna be able to make it to champs in 4th place, and they're gonna get like an upset win, and people
Yeah.
are gonna be like, who the hell is this team?
They'll
Where
be
have they
the
come from?
trace. Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think they've got very good ideas. I think they're one roster
Yeah.
change away from
yeah.
actually making like damage. They're going to be the next China team to do something.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on that. I think
TMP
they show
can't
so
handle
much
it.
promise.
Is he,
on
is
the
he still
macro
talking
level.
about XLG?
I'm talking about Wolves. I thought Wolves were going to be the next breakout team.
I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were saying that. I'm
Okay.
honestly shocked that we did this quick. I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
I'm surprised.
Maybe it's because I do think that Bren is often a bad influence on these lists.
We also applied no thought to the top 8. We basically, well, I guess the 8th place we did, but we
Yeah, but that's
basically just
because
locked
this-
them in based on Bangkok.
But yeah, man, what else are we gonna do? Because so many
like
teams
what?
that
Yeah.
finished third and fourth went out with like a whimper.
So one of the things we didn't really think about though is, for example, MIBR we've rated 11th, and we don't even know who their initiator is.
Yep, which I
Isn't
think
that,
is
like, we gave Talon a big D rank.
Oh, that's
based
a really
on
good
the
point.
I
roster.
didn't give
forgot
Talon
they
that
dropped
D-rank.
Nas
You
work.
did.
Like, we
Down
might
to 48.
we might want to consider
Yeah.
that a bit.
I think we've considered enough.
Swap them with crew.
Kill us, tell them to start over.
I do think they should be moved down. I'm at least a couple notches.
You're not
Just
getting
like,
Nongshim
Not
the 12th.
Nongshim up.
If Nongshim are 12th, I'm gonna swap them with heretics. How about that?
No,
Swap
what
them.
the hell is
no,
swap them
no,
mean?
no.
What is that?
That's not how that works.
By the way, I think that would be received better by the community. The community, I think, is immediately going to look at Heretics in 14th and be like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? But they played, like, they were not the Heretics of last year.
Right. I mean, they might become, but we don't know, right? So
Yeah,
the way
absolutely.
they played. Yeah, the way they played was terrible.
I think they absolutely could bounce back, though. Do we want to lock it in, then? Let's lock it in.
Sure.
Fuck it, do it.
Yeah.
I just want it on the record that when Nongshim go 1 and 4 in their fucking group, I just want it on
get
record
out of here,
when
man.
Wolves
Not
go
every
5
team is
and
like
0.
the Wolves, man.
Okay.
It's spring. It is literally springtime. I just want to point that out.
What does
True.
that have to do with
Spring
Because
plays
they
for
win.
Wolves.
Yeah,
Wolves.
'cause
Spring plays for
Wolves. Yeah.
Wolves. It's springtime. It's time.
Yeah.
Wolves win.
Wow.
You know when Champs is being
I
held?
can't wait.
In autumn, FPX is going to win. Or maybe T1. I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be
Bring it
T1
back.
FPX in the grand finals.
It's springtime, and it's fucking 70 degrees and sunny outside, and I'm glued to my chair making this fucking power ranking. Can we please end
Yes.
Can you try and
the
stand up,
episode?
Mimi?
Yeah, right.
I don't think
Yeah.
I would. I don't think I would stick. I think I would be freed
Well,
if I tried to.
Can you roll backwards slightly so we can see the full effect? And then if you could even turn to the side. Oh, wait. No, there we go. There we go.
Okay.
Go on. Give us a good attempt.
I just stand up. I just stand up. This glue is terrible.
Are you even stuck to the bag at all?
No, I think she's stuck to the bag.
I think I
Yeah,
am stuck.
think
It's like the fucking Omen glitch.
Okay, so the
Keep
glue
going
wasn't
over.
bad. You just didn't secure the bag to the chair. And you in
Not
fact, didn't
properly.
glue yourself to a chair. You have failed. In fact, we're going to have to get you to glue yourself to a chair
no,
again.
No. I'm gonna go spend the next fucking 20 minutes washing the glue out of my pants. I fucking did my penance. Congratulations, Team Liquid, you fucks.
Okay, well, with that being said, then,
Oh my god.
let's move to our
It's
final,
fucking ever.
most important segment.
God damn it.
This one presented by Elmer's Glue. It's Wyatt's Weekly Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, theys and them, announcing this week's Wyatt's Weekly Award is the one, the only, Wyatt River Hooter.
Thank you, and here is your Wyatt's Weekly Award winner.
Oh, Wyatt let himself go. Wyatt really let himself go there. All right, our Wyatt's Weekly Award winner this week is a man, you know him, you love him. He's making the comeback revival tour. He's been signed by the noodle industry. He's an insider who's managed to get them to the 13th position on the power rankings. It's Chobra with you've joined Nongshim to play Duelist for them apart from, right?
And you never would have guessed looking at our power rankings.
Dambi is Neon and you're playing the Jet and the Rays and the Phoenix and stuff.
No,
right?
I'm gonna
The
play
Yori?
Waylay so I can bait for him, and then he's gonna go in and get kills. I'm just gonna TP back, and then I'll be fine.
I see.
I just want to give this chance to say my thank yous to Nongshim, because all I had to do was sign a contract and I won Wyatt's Weekly Award, whereas I was glazing RQ for 3 years and I didn't get Wyatt's Weekly Award. So, obviously already much more successful in this endeavor here in Pacific. But they've been very supportive. A lot of people have been wondering, are you just going to stream Nongshim's games? But not much has to change. But obviously, I'll be like focusing on Nongshim and cheering them on, of course.
So
God, that RRQ Nongshim is the first game. If you want to watch a man just tear himself apart, we'll get onto Choba's stream. RRQ Nongshim. I'm reading The Shining at the moment, and it'll be like that, I assume. Jeff, like him just losing his mind.
all noodle and no play makes Choba a sad boy. So the opening games are bangers, man.
Yes.
I guess we're going to be covering those next week because we're going to be doing our preview episode. But China is also starting in 3 days. So that's the first thing to look forward to. I mean, Choba, are you going to be co-streaming TV? Are you going to be co-streaming China?
Yeah.
Shoot, yeah, I should be. I actually forgot that it was.
Come on, Wolves!
Yeah. I'll definitely be watching the Wolves games to see where they actually land.
The opening matches is Shilai Gaming versus Billy to open. Catch me there, repping Shilai. And then after that, next week we'll be looking at some of the other opening matches across the other regions. Like the one that we covered earlier, was it in Americas where C9 was playing against? Who was it? It was a banger. C9 were playing against NRG.
NRG.
Is that what it was?
NRG, I think.
Yeah, so it's like a match from
sick.
kickoff.
Talking about bangers, and you bring up C9 versus NRG.
That'll be
DRX
a
are
good
playing
game.
Paper X. That's a banger.
I mean, yeah, well,
What is it?
is it? Pull up the power rankings, Kurt.
mean-
DRX versus Paper X. What is that? That's our like 5th best team playing against our 31st best team or something.
No, you
No,
guys,
but
the
it's
best-
interesting either way. If Paper X are shit, interesting. If Paper X win, very interesting.
Right. Okay.
Well,
fair
T1
enough then.
versus Zeta is also an opening match, and that's absolutely a banger. So
That's not a banger. That's not a banger. That is.
Besides the Nongshim Chobra now, you don't need to. You can say that this is a shit game.
All right. That does it for us this week, though. Tune in next
real,
week, and
real
you'll be
quick
able to
before
get.
we go, if you want to watch Valorant today, NA Challengers starts today in like a few hours. So stage
very
1
good,
NA
very good.
Challengers.
It's gonna be a tough week for you, Kurt, getting up to watch all these regions.
Yeah, I watch
4
every
a.m.
single
there.
game of Valorant.
4 a.m. Trying
It's
to
actually
coach
a great
Autumn through
game.
that one. His
I mean,
first
it's
IGLing.
they are actually sick games as well. Envy's
Yeah.
playing as M80 to open.
yeah, that's actually
in
kind of
3 hours.
sick.
Yeah, that's pretty good. There you go then. Plenty
Thank
of.
you also to Seth.
plenty of good
Don't
Valorant.
forget. Yes.
Well,
Seth.
you know what? Actually, not just thank you to Seth. Let's get rid of TMV and let's end the show with Seth. He can say
What
goodbye
a
himself, I
fucking
think.
bold twat.
Get him gone. Get him gone. So, thank you very much
this
for
is
watching
better.
this episode. Appreciate Mimi for dropping by. Thank you, Choba and Achilles, one of our most illustrious guests. Thank you, as always, for carrying the majority of this show. Can't think of anybody I would have liked better to be our 4th today.
Yep. What can I say? Just always a pleasure to be here, and this is just the best group of people that could possibly be on the episode, and there's no one else that I could think of.
All right. Well, thank you very much then. Bye-bye. I'll see you next week.